What's up, everybody? This is NFL Network's Adam Ray.
This is Only Cooch.
This is Matt Waldman.
This is Chris Zork from your Chicago Bears.
I'm Deion Miller.
Dan Weeder.
Hey, my name is Rashad Whitfield.
I'm Courtney Cronin.
Hey, this is David Kaplan. Listen to me. You want to learn football? Listen to my guys, Phil and Shane.
Shane and Phil.
Shane and
Phil.
Oh, Phil.
On the Tape Never Lies Network.
On the Tape Never Lies Network.
Tape Never Lies Network.
The Tape Never Lies Network.
Tape Never Lies Network, home of the greatest Chicago Bears fans on earth.
The Tape Never Lies Network.
The Tape Never Lies. Tape Never Lies.
Starts now.
The Tape Never Lies.
Draft Dr. Phil and the smartest man.
Keeping it 100.
Keep it 100.
So chase greatness and start understanding that he's going to make everybody better.
The Tape Never Lies.
I don't want to see your tape breakdowns if you cannot show me things that are negative about a guy that's on your current team.
Hashtag chase greatness. Hashtag take that.
Keep it 100.
Because I'll make this one more time clear. Caden Whitlow, cut it.
Keeping it 100.
He is the best quarterback I have ever scouted on tape.
The Chicago Bears select.
Guess who's back? The two dudes that kept it real. Dynamic duo that you love, the smartest man in Dr. Phil. Breaking down the film, never a problem, kick it straight. Most shows focus on stats, we focus on the tape. We keep it in 100, never running east or west. We coming with that truth, cause that's what our fans expect. Cut off the fake and anchor, moving forward to be free. But don't you worry, Shane's got the dumbest tweets. It ain't no secret, Phil and Shane got some haters. But now they're moused up like the true and now and laters. Debaters, frauds get kicked like Coach Tabor. Cuts had to be made, we added a barber moderator. Up and down, boys got you double checking. Sad sacks strolling like a fool drunk texting. Flexing on the truth cause you know they'll never change. Real, recognize real, that's what you get with Phil and Shane.
Give me some fucking names in 2 fucking games.
Fuck a play or a captain, all of the upstairs. The tape never lies, the truth you see. We laugh, we analyze, so there's no babies like Maybelline. Straight to the truth with acumen and facts. We got a stat nerd, but he's not just giving nerd stats. Car crash, big impact like trip sack. Every Wednesday night you got the smartest man Phil back. Now we know you're smiling like a fat kid with fun dip. We're back better than ever and we keeping it 100.
Keeping it 100, baby.
Keep it 100.
Draft Dr. Phil and the smartest
Keeping it
man.
100.
Keeping it 100.
Keeping it 100.
Draft Dr. Phil and the smartest
Keeping it 100.
Keeping it 100.
Down there.
Draft Dr. Phil and the smartest
Keeping it 100, baby.
Keep it 100.
Keeping it 100.
Yeah, exactly.
Yo, what is good, TTNL family? It is Wednesday night. Y'all know where y'all at. Where you stuck?
Luxuries, Mom.
Yes, Phil, we know. We got a good show for you guys tonight. Of course, a lot to get to. I'm sure Phil and Shane are still mad from Sunday, so definitely got a lot to talk about. We got our girl Courtney Cronin of ESPN joining us. So much to get into. So without further ado, let me bring
She's happy. I'm happy.
Let me bring in the guys you really came to see. Mr. Shane, smartest man, Marcel, and Mr.
Cherie, look at Phil. Yeah, we don't have the booster seat engaged, so we can't quite see him on the monitor yet. You know how that goes.
My bad. I thought he was out. Oh, okay. Whatever.
Yeah.
How is it?
I know I'm short, right?
You said it. I didn't. So what's up, Cherie?
Oh, nothing much. You know.
Nothing much. How's the how's life? How's the menu looking tonight?
The menu is already done. It is a barbecue chicken flatbread. That is it. Kept it simple.
Now, was that made or was that
It
ordered?
was made.
By whom? You?
Me.
I'm not sure if I believe you.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to show you the picture. No, my pictures never look like the picture on the recipe card. So
Yeah. Oh man.
Mo is really trying to get banned again. Oh.
See, Lucas, I'm not. I leave Cherie's mom to Phil. Cherie's mom's friends are all mine. They love me.
Yes, they do.
So yeah, that's how it goes.
Planes a hit in the Chicago public school system.
Did you want to address Mo?
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm just gonna block him again.
I don't know what it is, Cherie. You blocked poor Mo. Ivan blocked an innocent bystander the other night.
I mean, hey.
I forget who was
Hey,
it.
look it. You just happen to be in the crossfire. I don't know. I've totally forgot. There's just somebody that I know shouldn't have been blocked and got blocked.
It's okay.
I looked down at my phone and Ivan's like, I pulled the Cherie. I blocked an innocent bystander.
It's
not what I said.
I'm just telling you.
Not what I said. That's not what I said.
I'm just relaying the message, Cherie.
Wow.
He's bullshitting, Sheree.
Oh man.
I have to go into the office this week, so that sucks, which is why y'all see me in my work outfit as opposed to t-shirts and comfortable clothes.
There you go. Oh man, the life of a Chicago Bears fan. It's never boring, is it? I said, 8 quarters and people are ready to fold up shop and lots of blame to go everywhere, and we're not changing. We're just going to sit here and talk about what we see. And you know what? If you don't like hearing us analyze what we see and get mad because we're holding people accountable and you want to walk away because you don't agree with that, so be it. To me, all that says is you didn't believe in what we were doing in the first place. So good riddance as far as I'm concerned. There's lots of blame to go around with this team. There's lots of issues. There's also a lot of very correctable issues. And I know we're not getting into the tape tonight, but Ivan has seen it. I've seen it a couple of times, and I don't give a shit what anybody says. Caleb Williams in week 1 as compared to week 2, he improved, believe it or not. And I feel perfectly content saying that. There's a lot of haters and people that don't want to hear that and will probably say that we're being homers, and we don't play that way here, but he was a better quarterback versus Houston than he was versus Tennessee. 100%. Lots to work on still. Lots of improvements to make. Got to clean up those deep shots. Can't keep on missing those for sure. So there's, like I said, there's lots of improvement to go around. Coaching staff, offensive line, offensive coordinator, and players included. Lots of improvements to be made for sure.
As far as his, being able to, like I said, was it a gigantic improvement? No, it wasn't a gigantic improvement, but there was improvement, with how he processed, with how he delivered the balls on time. Do I want 2 interceptions late in the game? Fucking no. Of course not. And he acknowledged that in his presser today. Do I expect him to have some more bad throws here and there? Yeah, it's going to happen. But I do feel like if we can continue to see incremental progression throughout this, each and every game, right, throughout this year, until Caleb, kind of goes off one game, I really think that his mind right now, it's just, okay, I know that there's levels to this. I need to be aware of that, be aware of myself, and not get too high or too low on what I do. Just make sure you do your job and correct the mistakes.
Yeah, no, and like Curtis, maybe you're a new Bears fan, but oh yeah, there can be a lot worse, and we've seen it all, buddy. So yeah, there can be
Todd Collins.
a lot worse. Oh my God, don't get me started. I have all that useless knowledge up here in my head. I can name them off, but I am not down on Caleb Williams at all. And what we're seeing now is, the people that are coming out of the woodwork now are the people that were always going to come out of the woodwork. Always. If he passed for, 300 yards and 4 touchdowns, it was wait till the league catches up. There's always going to be an excuse, always. So it's a no-win situation, and I'm not even going to let that shit be a blip on my radar. It's the other shit, like I said last week, and I said it on BHL, and I'll say it tonight. If you want to come in here and start saying things about him painting his fingernails and going down that fucking avenue, you're instant gone. I don't give a fuck if you're a patron or trying to be funny. It's just it's not. I could give 2 fucks about it and we'll bounce you.
Well, I mean, other than that, like,
for me, it was like, everything y'all said is correct when it comes to Caleb. It's clear that he's gonna, he's gonna have the growing pains. He's a rookie, My concern as a Bears fan is watching that game, is having that feeling of same shit, and there's no knock on Kevin. It's all, Caleb, but it's all about the coaching. Like, having that feeling it's hard to have faith in this coaching staff when we're seeing the same shit year after year.
Yeah, and listen, my biggest fear with Caleb is you don't want to see him get folded in half and get hurt and miss games because of it. And you go out there and you have a couple of games in a row of getting the shit knocked out of you, then you start seeing ghosts, and then we have a problem. So we'll see how it goes. And I know when Phil gets here, I know he's got lots of thoughts on it. But in terms of, I know Phil's not going to mind me speaking for him right here. TTNL is not down on Caleb Williams and still feel very much the same, 100%. And we're not afraid to point out the negatives about him if he plays bad, and we're going to maintain with what we saw on tape, and we still like where the trajectory is headed. Absolutely.
Do you want to address this question?
No. Yeah, no, I mean, for a couple of games, I don't think so.
No.
I think you go in there and you get him the reps, and what is 2 games going to get you?
And you're the number 1 overall pick in the NFL draft.
Yeah, you brought him in. They're throwing him into the fire, and it is what it is. I mean, I don't understand all right, we're gonna sit you for a couple of games, and I don't see any. I think Caleb Williams is a better quarterback than anybody else we have on this roster, and I'm a Tyson I was the guy that brought Tyson Bagent up on this network.
Yes, he did.
In the NFL, so I'm a big fan of Tyson Bagent, but everybody's got work to do. Everybody, players, coaches, this fucking franchise. I mean, everything is discombobulated in the order that they do things, and you can't swear on Hard Knocks, but you can have employees going out and talking about craziness, and you're whatever. We'll see.
You put the brake on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty smart.
But you know where I was going.
I do.
Oh, yeah.
Where you were going. Hypocrites?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what have you been talking about?
Tory Taylor, pretty much for the most part, the backup safety. But no, we're just talking about I brought up that, 2 interceptions aside, Caleb Williams played better at quarterback in week 2 than he did in week 1 by my eyes.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people obviously parrot. I know what I said right after BHL. It's like the reality of situational personnel usage, play calls, understanding and identity isn't there. And I've heard some things this week, even from people, and I just shake my head at it. And I look at a fan base completely disjointed and discombobulated and separated by this want to be right instead of want to see the Bears be successful. And that is the problem. And you have former people at TTNL that are so fraudulent and manipulative in their verbiage, and you see the anger, and it's just not even in the vicinity of truth, of football truth. Saw that leading up to the draft with former people here and former networks we've been on, and how they flip-flopped when it was Caleb and Justin was traded, and he only got a 7th round pick that could possibly be a 4th round pick next year. And then now you're hopping back on the Justin bandwagon because the Steelers are 2-0, and the Bears won the first week, but Caleb didn't look good. It's like, what would you like?
Those people were gonna come out of the woodwork no matter what, Phil. It was always
with a dead animal in the street. What happens?
I saw
all the gnats come out.
I saw a guy on Twitter come out and want to fucking preach and think that he's holier than fucking thou to all Bears fans, and saying that you gotta turn the page and not look back and all of this shit. And Caleb throws his first interception. So what does this guy tweet out? He tweets out a picture of Tyson Bagent and it says hello. So that just, to me, that just says you're a fucking scumbag. You know what I mean? Yeah, you flip-flopped because you don't know shit about football, and you're gonna I got a picture with this guy, so I'm gonna kiss his ass. That's what it comes down to.
It's honestly the saddest thing I've ever seen. There's no support system for a rookie quarterback there. As much as you hate Green Bay, you could maybe learn a thing or two about watching how they support their football team. Now, I'm not asking you to not hold people accountable. I'm just not asking you to write the end of the story after 2 games. You've decided he's a bust. Like, that kind of ridiculousness is not even in the vicinity of truth. So therefore, it doesn't have any merit. Now, when you want to talk about a coach and you're looking at situational things, the coach is in control of where he's placing protections. We can add chips. You heard Eberflus mention chips after in the post-game show for a reason. That was a shot or a showcase letting people know he's not happy with Waldron, nor should he be. If I was the head coach, I would not be. You're not helping your rookie quarterback. You were putting him in a situation that was completely unfair, and it wasn't successful. Giving up and looking at things with the tape, you could just see where Shane is going. Like I said it, the last thing I'm worried about offensively is the quarterback, because I just see the ability, the quick release. I see the ability.
It's not a Caleb thing, Phil. We said the same thing after Cleveland when Justin had his first career start. We said the same thing. And this is why people want to turn this into they just hate Justin. No, we're analyzing what we see. That's what I said before you got here too, was just addressing that situation. If you get upset about what we are analyzing. We're not saying, oh, he's a Bear, so we're not going to talk bad about him. That's not what we do here. It's not what we ever will do. Well, of course, we have our favorites, but we're going to tell you the truth with what we see.
You have to be able to do that. This isn't for fanboys and fucking rainbows and sunshine. That's why Chicago media types that actually know the game of football will come on here. We've asked other people to come on the show, and they refused to come on because they don't have a football acumen, and it would get destroyed in 2.85 seconds.
How many people have I invited on live on air in the chat?
A lot.
You want to defend your point, and as of now, it's 0 people. That's over years.
The fun thing is that I don't know where the expectation could possibly be when you're watching a game and on one side of your mouth, you're bitching up and down about the offensive line. And then in 2 seconds later, you want this rookie quarterback to overcome it.
Mm-hmm.
And your answer is, well, Phil, you told me it was generational. Tom Brady couldn't help yesterday or on last Sunday. You have to protect. What I said in my post-game rant was directed at Waldron, Morgan, and Eberflus. It's a problem. And when you don't have good coaches in situations that you need them to be good, you get problems like this. And it's unfortunate that that's where we are in this world. It gets me so fired up. I feel like Tate crying in the background. I don't know.
I was checking mine to see if that was mine. I'm like, what is he doing to his sister up there?
I think the puppy got him on the leg or something. Because the puppy's. That's basically what it is. But
I think that's where Ivan went to. I think he went to check.
Thought it was his son grind.
He's like, is my flatbed ready? Or
mine is ready.
It's just hard, like my father was pointing out. He's like, I watched the game and I remember Peyton Manning, his rookie year, getting demolished and crucified behind a line that wasn't protecting him, and he was a statue. And he threw all these interceptions, and they said he's going to be a bust. And you have to allow the quarterback to grow. And I could call Coach O, his big issue, what do you think it was?
Yeah, the offensive line.
He goes, this offensive line coach is terrible. He's terrible. He doesn't have any rule. Everything I was saying was what he said. Like, it's funny because people are going to tout him. I told Cap in a text, I don't give a fuck who's telling you. Chris Morgan, good guy, good coach. Where? Show who has he developed? Where? What has he done? What on tape are we watching that has shown that he's doing good, sound, fundamental teaching? It's not there. Meanwhile, a guy like Lucas Patrick can go to the Saints and all of a sudden become a good football player.
Yeah, and I understand that, but let's just pump the brakes a bit on that aspect of it.
I'm just saying,
everybody is looking at the grades that he got. You know what I mean? The same place that
I was
gave
watching his
Sam Mustipher high grades, but I'm just saying I'm not saying you. I'm not saying you.
Well, I watched their game, because I wanted to see, and you know what? He played sound football because they're working in cohesiveness in regards to responsibility. PFF, I can give two fucks about. When you watch a good offensive line, you see them working, stepping in unison. handling themselves together, combo blocks. If they're all working together, no one's getting beat, no one's missing. You're working together. The Bears don't look like that at all. They don't look like that at all. So I'm not even talking about the PFF grades. I wanted to see what the Saints are doing.
Clint Kubiak, by the way, interviewed 2 times in Chicago and did not get the job because they hired Shane Waldron. He is the OC in New Orleans.
And Shane Waldron's use of personnel is completely moronic.
Yep.
It's completely moronic.
And that's I know we're not going to go down the vortex of Facebook posts and all of that nonsense, but I was reading a little bit of that, and it's, I don't give a shit if you give a guy 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6 years. At no point should an offensive coordinator ever have Keenan Allen, Rome Odunze, DJ Moore, and DeAndre Swift and Caleb Williams on the field 10 times in a 4-quarter football game. It's beyond comprehension. And then DeAndre Carter, for who he is, I get it, stepping up. He's the focal point of an offense on Sunday Night Football, Phil, in week 2 with DJ Moore on the team.
Sad.
Crazy.
Absolutely sad. The thing about Kubiak, if you watch, what did he put an emphasis on? The run. The run. And you have to run the football in order to get to where you need to be going. At the end of the day, that's
running the football is going to open up everything. And you don't have to go to the 5th string running back. I mean, the first week of the season where Velus Jones is a big part of the second half. It's like, what are we doing here? Well, the first 3rd down of the season, Travis Homer was in there. Like I said, he got
that's right.
6 offensive snaps in 20.
And they never get under center. It was 5 snaps, 6 under center, 5 or 6 under center, and everything else is gun. And everybody and their brother that covers football is saying, why are you in the gun so much? Why are we running out of guns so much?
And
it's a problem.
To give everybody a little look into Cars Keys, that'll be live tomorrow night at 9:00. 81 snaps for Caleb Williams in the NFL. 63 of the 81 are in 11 personnel with Waldron. 63 of 81 in 11.
63 of 81 is in 11 personnel.
Yeah. Guess our offensive line is good enough. Right?
I don't know.
Jones, this is exactly what we're saying, and it's really, and again, it's just a dumb comment because we're watching the tape and talking about what we see. We're not going to watch and see flaws and say, you know what, we're going to talk about that the first show of 2025 because we have to give him a chance. This is a veteran football coach that's been around for a long time. Those statements to me make no sense at all. That just tells me that you're a fan and you don't want to hear any negativity at all. You just want to be happy and force it. And you're probably George McCaskey's favorite fan in the world, if that's the case, because the Bears are a classic charter franchise and they're run like a well-oiled machine, clearly.
You know, you look at some of the signings, even on top of that, like, why aren't we? Here's Mercedes Lewis at 40-something years old.
Yeah.
Kept him on the team. Why aren't you running? That's what he's here for. Run block. Set the edge. Start running the ball, right? No, what there seems to be two different. There's like a tug of war on what it is you're going to do offensively. The front office thinks one way, the other people think the other way. So
Phil,
I don't know what to do.
Do you want to? Oh,
what's that?
Highlighted the wrong one. Do you want to just put this in layman terms for Larry so he can understand it?
Can you explain 11 personnel? So that's one tight end and one back.
One running back.
Okay. That's where you go. So the rest fill in receivers. That's where it is. So now 12 personnel is 2 running backs or 2 tight end. That's where it goes. And then the rest are left with receivers. That's where these things come into play. That's where they come into play. So I'll get more into the 12 personnel and 13 personnel, which we will never see here for some reason. There'll be a lot of things we won't see. But one thing we've been dying to see, maybe this is God's way to bring her out after what was one of the more disappointing moments in a close game.
Yeah.
But it feels like you got beat by 40 points in our hearts, in our stomachs, in our prides. But I was letting her finish her last baked stuffed shrimp that we sent over to her in the green room. Now let's bring her out. You guys know her, probably Cherie's favorite guest on TTNL. The woman who said Sega. Well, you'll figure it out. Here she is. Bring her out our way. The great beat reporter from ESPN Chicago and ESPN. You see her all over the place, around the horn. She's everywhere. And you know what? Who predicted that? This scout, me. Let me bring her out. Courtney Cronin.
The tape never lies.
NHL 94. It was on Sega. That was.
Oh, is that what it was?
Fans out there.
Sega. How do you say that?
Sega.
I always said Sega.
Sega.
It's easier for me to
be down to the East Coast.
You always.
I say it Western way. Sega.
Sega.
Is there a commercial for it that I'm unaware of?
No, when you put your cartridge in, it would go.
Sega. Ours didn't sing. I think we probably got the knockoff version of it. Sega. So that's the noise.
Yeah.
All right. Fuck this. Those are things that you can build upon that actually enhance the value of your product instead of diminish it. I think with Fields, the jury's still out.
You have to navigate the market for Justin Fields and how dry the trade market is right now.
Looking at it saying that's all they could get for Justin Fields, and I've said this all along, that's a reflection of what the league's telling you they think of Justin right now.
You can hardly turn on your radio or TV these days without seeing this lady talking ball. She's everywhere, but most importantly, she covers the team we all know and love. Bears fans, TTNL fans, please get up out your seats and give it up for the Bears beat reporter for ESPN.
So similar to how
and
the Bears went through this rebuild.
She's family. She's Courtney Cronin.
Hi.
Courtney.
That's my first time seeing that intro. When did you guys make that?
That was Cherie's work, I think, right, Cherie? Cherie, Courtney, can we get your thoughts on this all 22 footage of Cherie at Hall of Fame weekend?
Where that was in Canton?
That was in Canton.
Yes, we were at the
Mambo party.
yeah.
What is it? The band was playing. What was his name of his band? The one that like
That was
Dan Hampton.
Hampton.
Yeah.
That's. I mean, sounds like were you like 10 sheets to the wind at that point?
You didn't even know she was being recorded.
I love it. I think you dance great. I think the all 22 shows that you've really like worked on your fundamentals and your technique, and you have perfected your moves.
Perfected it all.
You're going to be replacing
Courtney.
Shane Waldron at any point, Cherie.
You said that you were like going to send over some seafood or some shit that I heard.
You'll hear a knock at the door.
I hear some shrimp.
Cherie has Uber Eats all the time.
Real.
He's sending it over as we speak. How are you?
I'm good. It's weird that it's like already week 3, and I mean once
Crazy.
the days are like the days are long, but the season's short, right? Like that's the saying that we have every year, and it absolutely feels like that now. Teams 1-1. There's a lot going on, but there's also like still this wait and see pattern that you're in. So I don't know. It's a weird time, and I thought about it earlier. I feel like I'm the only one who recognizes what this is the anniversary of. Like 1 year ago this week, going into week 3, the Wednesday of it was the most hectic day I've had on the Bears beat. And like, I guess I still have PTSD from the day that Justin Fields threw coaches under the bus, drove the bus over them, backed it up, yelled at all of us. Alan Williams resigns in the middle of this. Braxton Jones gets put on IR. All of this craziness. Like, I guess I'm the only one who like remembers what today is, but it's wild when you fast forward 365 days ahead of that, where now it's this new regime, offensively, a lot of new players, a new quarterback, yet it still feels in a way like some of the issues that we talked about last year at this time are still there, at least on offense. But like far more smoother, I guess I should say, with everything else that's going on just in terms of where the team is. But it's been good. It's been a busy summer, but now we're in the thick of it.
Overdrive. Yeah.
Yeah, let me ask you this straight out the gate. Obviously the big questions for me is the personnel usage that this guy continues to use and how he's handling protecting his quarterback. Your vibe, forget the X's and O's part about it. We can get into that in a second, but just the guy in and of itself, being around him in these pressers and how you've seen him act throughout camp. He just doesn't seem confident to me with this position. Am I misreading it? Or is that just recognizing what's transpiring on the field and projecting it onto the guy?
And I think it's a work in progress. I think it's, you would expect for somebody who's been an offensive coordinator before for 3 years before coming here. It's not like if this was his first time being an OC, and this
like
was
Getsy
doing it like Getsy, and this is like year 1 going into game 3, I think he probably would get a little bit more credence as to like why it looks like it does, why it has been so slow coming out of the gate when the expectations for this offense were so high. But because it's year 4 for him, and there were such high expectations, and we were led to believe from what we saw in the preseason that it was going to be pretty seamless, that's why I think there's this gap between reality and what the expectations were. Now, nobody with a brain expected that Caleb Williams was going to come out of the gate slinging, but nobody expected it in that same breath to look as bad as it has the last 2 weeks. So I think there's just like a mix of, at some point the excuse of Shane Waldron's trying to figure out what the identity of this offense is, at some point that will wear off. But I still think it is early enough to where some of that does have some validity behind it, as a rookie quarterback and an offensive line that wasn't addressed to the point that, other positions were this offseason. It's not like they didn't spend. They just didn't spend on their weakest link. I mean, those things are now getting magnified to where it's a problem. And if they can't figure out that problem early on, then I think just because you have a rookie quarterback that hangs in the balance here and you don't want to screw him up before he really gets off the ground, like that's why it feels so tenuous at 1-1. Because there are a lot of teams around the league, especially in the NFC, that are 1-1. Like the Eagles are 1-1. They're a Super Bowl contender. The 49ers are 1-1. They're a Super Bowl contender. The Lions, like the Packers, like the list goes on and on, but it just feels like a weird 1-1. Maybe I'm the only one who feels that, but I don't know. It just feels like, given the way that they escaped in week 1 and what happened in week 2, it feels like they probably, the offense at least feels like they're 0-2 while the rest of the team is on a different wavelength, if that makes sense.
If we look at the offensive line, Courtney and I, the quote that sticks out with me with Ryan Poles is, this is the best depth that I've ever been around, on the offensive line, but he's also not using it. The coach isn't using it. So that bothers me. I mean, we all know, and I don't want to get into the issues that Nate Davis had last year, but we all know that there's some pretty fundamental issues in there, just if he's driven to even try. I mean, the tape on him is, we're going to put out some clips there when Phil does his breakdown that are just, I mean, on one, he misses 4 guys on one play. It's crazy. But why do you think that they're so reluctant to send a message? Part of the Hits philosophy is having buy-in. It that's not just a defensive philosophy, right?
Sure.
It's for your team.
Philosophy. Are you saying why are they so reluctant to bench or why to move personnel around?
Right. Yeah, and put in some of this quality depth that you were talking about.
Where is it? Like Ryan
on
IR, Larry Borum's on IR, Matt Pryor's your only lineman with experience. Like I don't disagree, Shane, with the premise of that. I just don't think they can do it right now. I really don't. Like Karan Amagaji hasn't practiced in full.
I mean, my guy that I was thinking about was Matt Pryor coming in.
I mean,
he gives you some more size, and I'm not.
Nate Davis is playing in
Nate
neutral.
Davis isn't even showing up. That's
That's the thing.
Problem.
No, I don't disagree with that. I just don't think look, it's a rational thought to think, okay, it's not working with the 5 that you have. If injury doesn't save your job, which is what Eberflus said the second week of August when he was talking about Nate Davis. If everybody's effectively in an open competition and they want to get the best 5 out there, well, you have to do that at some point. I don't know if they have the capability of doing that right now going into week 3, just using this as an example, because they're so hurt. And I'm sure Ryan Poles probably feels like, damn, maybe I shouldn't have put that out into the ether. The football gods are down and, slapping me on the hand for saying, oh, like my depth is so great when it got tested. And even at that point, Larry Borum was already on IR when he said that. And they, this condition, this arthritic condition, is not something that's new for Ryan Bates. I mean, he's been dealing with that for a while. I think they put cart before the horse a little bit too much with that, just with their depth. But it's not even that. Like the starting 5, and this is something that always kind of irks me when people talk about on a national scale, especially all the shows I did this summer in New York. And when people who don't cover the Bears or aren't fans of this team just see the shiny pieces, they see DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, all this other stuff. They see a defense that is really, really good, but they don't account for the team's weakest link. Like, yeah, Caleb's in a great situation, but it's going to look pretty similar in moments to what it looked like the last 2 years with this offensive line if you don't fix that. And, they're in a situation now where you got to deal with what you have. Of course, they're very quickly, if this thing continues to look as poorly as it does in terms of pass protection, in terms of simply not being able to run the ball because you can't run block, then it makes next April a no-brainer, makes free agency a no-brainer for what you need to do. But it's not a great, it's just they have a real sour taste in their mouth because of it right now. And fundamentals, effort, all of those things that they keep talking about, like trying to fix it, that only goes so far. I think it's a talent issue. And as much as they want to say it's not, and the players are not going to say that it is, they're not going to throw their own guys under the bus, it's a talent issue. Call it what it is. You have a center who the Rams weren't chomping at the bit to keep. You have a right guard who, if you hit free agency at certain positions, there's usually a reason for it. Injury, not a good fit, whatever.
And at that age too, he was 26 years old. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not, I don't think you can like sugarcoat it. I think that's their weakest link. It's been their weakest link. And I think what drives me nuts right now is the amount of people, and I don't know. So apparently there's some tweet that I sent back in, I don't know what it was because nobody actually like pulled it up, but like I saw my mentions the other day about like, apparently I said something back in that Green Bay game in January about like Justin needs to get rid of the ball faster, whatever. Like, I don't, if anybody wants to argue that they shouldn't have made the upgrade at quarterback, that's revisionist history. And I don't have time to talk to stupid people. So, but like, there is something about the way that Caleb looks right now behind this offensive line that does trigger people thinking like about last year and thinking, oh, Justin was right. He wasn't the problem. Yeah. In moments, there is validity to that. But by and large, like, this offensive line is going to be a problem if you don't fix it. You had to make the upgrade at quarterback, but until those issues with your protection get sorted out, it's going to look similar, and you're going to hurt a rookie who you have a 5-year timeline with. You're going to hurt him before he can really get out of the gate. Right. And you don't want to do that with this, as this franchise is trying to do things that are different.
Well, that's where the two intersect. They intersect each other because you can help an offensive line that's struggling run the ball by personnel, and you put a tight end wing and you try to block the edge. Oh, by the way, Houston has a good edge.
It's not like, I think that like the idea that you can't is such an outdated concept.
Exactly.
I wrote a story today. I don't need to like read out the numbers, but I have all the max protection numbers in it about like how, I mean, they lived in it last year. They were blitzed like the third highest rate because teams think that there's a vulnerability at quarterback. They're going to do that. They did that with Justin. They're doing it to Caleb. They're doing it to Jaden Daniels in Washington because they're rookies. But there's ways that you can combat that you should know. You should know, okay, like we need to Mercedes Lewis, Kari Blasingame when he's healthy. You have the capability to have extra guys like in there solely to chip defensive ends. And
100%. And it didn't happen, Courtney. And I'm watching the tape of it, and it's embarrassing. And it falls directly. And I will say this to you. I love you and appreciate what you do on a professional level like nobody else. And you share your time here with us. But Chris Morgan, fundamental teaching on tape has been a question for my father and myself. It's big Steve Edwards, former Bear. Watching the tape, we're not seeing fundamentals, even rule blocking. Okay, I got to head up on me. We're running outside zone. I got to block him. He's got to block the next guy because there's no way we could. It's not. They're doing things and people are just coming clean as if it's JV football into the back, and you can't run. Then we're going to try to run outside versus a team with maybe two of the best defensive ends in football, edge defense. It makes no sense to go along with the teaching. So it becomes infuriating because the blame then goes on what you and I and Shane have all said. Like, it's if you can't see Caleb's different, then I don't know what you're looking at. Like, he's
a complete non sequitur. And I don't understand. Like, I just think that people get so sensitive when they see, oh, look, it's the same thing that happened last year. Yet you guys are blaming Justin Fields. No, like, full stop. It's a completely, but that's not to say that the issue with the offensive line is not now an issue. It absolutely is. And, when it comes to like Chris Morgan and like wondering if like his philosophy lines up with Shane Waldron, I don't really.
Arranged marriages.
It
doesn't work.
If we know, I mean, that happens a lot though in the NFL, just specifically with offensive line coaches, because there's so few good ones that, it's kind of like once you have one, a lot of times you keep that person on staff. It's like a special teams coordinator in a lot of ways, where those guys don't necessarily, when a whole staff is fired, sometimes there are a couple coaches that are holdovers. I think offensive line coaches fall into that category, at least just from like speaking with people around the league as to, when they fired those 5 members of the staff back in January. Like, there's a reason why Chris Morgan was kept on, why he was given more responsibility with the run game to be a run game coordinator. They see something there. Now, even the best coaches, like sometimes there's personnel issues that you just can't overcome and talent issues. Like, and that's why I'm sure everybody's seen the clip now of Belichick on the McAfee show. I've been saying this for years now. Like Detroit gave everybody a masterclass in how to build an offensive line, but not every franchise has the time to do that. And let's think about that. This is not a matter of like, a 1 or 2 year process. That was the last front office. That was Matt Patricia. Like that group started building that with Taylor Decker and Frank Ragnow and all these other guys that like got there 2016, 2017, 2018. And the new Dan Campbell and Terry Fontenot, they got to inherit a really good base to then start continuing to build on with Penei Sewell and the others that they've drafted. Like that's how you do it if you really want stability. The Raiders, that was my first NFL team that I covered. When they had Kelechi Osemele, they had Gabe Jackson, Donald Penn, like they built that for years to get to that point. And that's why if you do it right, you have guys who play the position for 10 years. And it's hard to hit on, but if you are willing to go that route and go the long way with it, the way the Bears have done with a lot of other things, it's sustainable. You're not having like stopgaps at certain positions. And I think that's not every team's going to do it. Not every team's going to be afforded the time to do it, but you'd think that the Bears would want to put more into what they have invested in already around the quarterback, which, maybe that's the next part of their timeline in adding. And, hell, like trade deadlines 2 months.
Pretty easy to see.
We're talking about it already is nuts, but like that's if you're asking me today it's hard to like pinpoint too, like who, unless you're a contender, who's trading an offensive lineman?
Nobody. It's very rare. Yeah.
If you can't find somebody, then you have to kind of just make do with what you have to get through the season.
I just want to say one thing, because only about what Shane was bringing up on the hits philosophy and back to Nate David. I'm sorry. I don't agree. If a guy looks the way he does, uninterested, you have to send the message to the entire locker room that your standard is this. And he goes underneath that, get him out. And even if Pryor is less than him talent-wise, you're doing your whole franchise a service instead of a disservice, because it's so apparent, Courtney, and it goes against your whole philosophy. You become a shoe salesman just like Matt Nagy. And that's what I'm already seeing in Eberflus. You can't double talk. You have to have a standard. As a head coach, I'm the same way. Everybody's equal. If the percentage of a person's effort is in question, it becomes a cancer in the locker room, and it takes everything away. It ruins people, like you said. So we see it with Nate Davis. I mean, there's plays here. It's ridiculous. It is. And if you're going to keep sending, I don't know if it was you or somebody asked about the personnel, will be any changes on the personnel? And he says no.
Yeah, and he said that was my question.
He's soft. He is soft as the McCaskies on Hard Knocks, not swearing. It's ridiculous.
I also think, that's a preservation answer, because right now they don't have any other options. So you don't want to, like, I'm not trying to give him credence for that, because I think it is the wrong approach. But I just think as of right now, going into week 3, they don't have that capability. Like, who are you going to have play center? Doug Kramer? Guy has no NFL experience. Who are you going to have play right? I mean,
I would just put him out, and I'd put Pryor in.
But he's also a draft pick from 3 years ago that you've kept. I mean, I know he went to Arizona for a cup of coffee and then came back, and he's on your 53. It's hard to say. It's hard to say that every roster spot is worth its weight in gold.
Oh, I agree.
If you got a guy there that you're not willing to play.
But I mean, you got to weigh. Is that a better option than what they have in there right now? The option they have in there right now might not be great, but it's really.
I loved Pryor it was preseason, but I loved the fact that there's one play in preseason for the man that size to be able to get down and get a shaded one, and he's playing guard. I mean, that's an athlete. So if he's going to give maximum effort, and he's in the NFL, he's what is he, 6'7"? You've been around it. I mean, he's huge.
Dude. And I mean, he played a lot in OTAs too. Like it's not just a preseason thing. Like Nate Davis wasn't present there. He wasn't practicing the whole time he was there in the spring. And so Pryor's gotten the reps, but like, you know, I mean, my thought, and most people look at this and say, well, Teven was great on the right side of the offensive line last year when Davis wasn't playing.
Exactly.
Why not put him back next to have like one side of the offensive line that's really like, that's like that is your strength. There's numbers running to that side with Foreman, with Herbert, with all the backs. Like they were better running to the right side those first couple weeks of the season, even though they didn't win those games. When Teven was not moved back to left guard.
Right.
But, you know, he's got the thigh bruise right now. It doesn't sound super serious, just the way that Eberflus positioned it today. So I don't know if this would be a situation where, okay, Matt Pryor's got to play left guard this weekend, but it would be nice to see some changes. If they say they're not moving anything this week, okay. And you should be able to run on the Colts. They've had a lot of injuries up front, and they've got a lot of injuries in their defense. You should be, but if you can't, then there's no excuse. You know, in weeks 4, 5, and 6, and you're going to be getting some guys coming off IR after week 4. There's no excuse to not tinker with it because you can't keep running it back if it's not working.
And therein lies the problem with the Bears forever, and it predates this regime. When there's the simplest solution possible, like we're all sitting here saying, you should be able to run the football against the Indianapolis Colts. And then Sunday at 4:30, after the game is over, I wouldn't be shocked if we look down and Caleb had 38 pass attempts. That's the Chicago Bears way. They've done it forever. It's like, oh, we're smarter than everybody else. We're going to pull the okey doke and they'll never see it coming. And I know that sounds very remedial, but that's what they have done forever. But away from that, Courtney, did you see Teven Jenkins? I think it was a quote with CHGO about do you think that was just a frustration quote, or do you think that was
doing what we're being coached to do?
Yeah.
I think that, you know, like I think that's just like the straight up answer of like, I'm just trying to do my job.
Yeah.
I didn't take it as much. I mean, feels like a lot of people kind of like to look in the weeds this weekend, whether they're like, everybody's a body language doctor now, like looking at DJ Moore on the sideline and all of that. And, you know, same thing with the Teven quote. I didn't see it as anything more than this is a guy who they know they struggle. They know that they're going to get the blame when things go wrong. Like it's always the same with offensive linemen. Like, you know, when things are great, they never get any credit. When things suck, it always goes on like, you know, the trenches. It always does. But I know that not one of them felt great about the way that, you know, when your quarterback gets hit 7 times, when you're having to answer questions about your quarterback's tough,ness, that's not a good place for an offensive lineman to be in, because that means something went wrong, so wrong up front that you were asking you about, man, how resilient your quarterback is after getting hit 7 times, because that makes you look bad. That makes you look like you screwed up at your job, and nobody wants to answer questions like that. So I take it as, I mean, he's a professional. Teven's never going to skirt responsibility. You can think what you want about him as a player and his availability and all those things. Like, I think he has been one of the most forthright and honest people in his assessment of where the team is, and in the assessment of, you know, where he is personally. He's handled everything with like his contract talk the same way. He's, you know, been like a consummate pro just in the way that he's handled taking responsibility for a unit that he's 1/5 of. So I didn't read into it much more than that.
So Phil, real quick before you go, I was talking about that clip, and I it's too good not to show. This is Warren Sharp's clip, but this is Nate Davis, and when we had Steve Edwards on Monday night, he was talking about this, and just Phil, break it down.
That's even like go find work mode. Like,
yeah,
it's fucked up on that, and then it's like, oh shit. Like, I would love to. I can only imagine when you're a lineman and something like that happens, and you don't know the play. You don't know if you're running. But to me, that screams, I don't know if it was a run play or pass play. And Cole Kmet kind of intimated that up front, and I know he kind of walked it back. I have the quote because I want to read it again, because I asked him about this after he said it. He said, when I asked him about like, the Texans created a blueprint to beat you. It's not a novel concept. I said this like 10 times today. It's not a novel concept that like teams are going to blitz rookie quarterbacks because they're trying to throw so much at you, but what can you do in protection? And he said, there's protection adjustments. You can see pressure. You have to adjust pressure. You see blah, 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 slide here, whatever. Or whether it's a miscommunication up front as to what play we're running. And I remember seeing that clip because there's been a couple of those. Yeah. Darnell Wright got blown past. I think it was by Danielle Hunter as well.
That was just technique on Darnell. This right here is a run play because he steps and he's going forward. So he's supposed to get to the backer if he's not blocking this first guy who's in a inside shade. He gets to he's thinking the other tackle's going to block that guy. I don't know. And then he finds no work, which is soft. And watching it, you look confused 100%. There's confusion there, but at the end of the day, block somebody.
Yeah. Like and he almost blew his knee out right at the very end too, because he was looking around for somebody or something.
I saw that play obviously on the television, not the coach's copy there yet. Tomorrow I'll do my show with that. And I saw it from the television copy. It was a delay type of play, and he doesn't block anybody. Get on the linebacker. He goes right by him.
But Courtney, you brought up Cole and the communication. That was a theme of Caleb's presser today too. He repeated the communication aspect of it like 3 or 4 separate times. So I know it involves all of them, but I don't think it's also much of a shock when you have a rookie quarterback in there. And obviously there's questions around Shane Waldron and the personnel usage and the whole outfit, but they definitely got to get it cleaned up. That's for sure.
Yeah. And I think some of that with Caleb too is, it's good when he goes up there and he can like immediately identify something that went wrong. So like the 3rd and 4 back shoulder throw on this is a penultimate drive. The one that like everybody, when DJ laid on his back and took his helmet off and everybody's just like always pissed. Like Caleb's like, yeah, I threw that ball too wide. If I throw it like on time and throw it where it needs to be, because it was a sluggo. Like he gave him 5 yards, 2 to 5 yards, more like 3 to 5 yards of cushion. That's a ball that DJ he should have placed perfectly for DJ Moore. DJ did his job. Caleb knows that he didn't do his job well enough. And I think it's good. You see culpability from a rookie quarterback, but like when they keep talking about communication and the little details, sometimes that's a cop-out. Sometimes that's, I'm not going to actually tell you what's wrong. Like, we're just going to use these buzzwords to, keep it pushing and like not tell you anything worthwhile. But you keep hearing that stuff from multiple people. What were some of the issues early on in training camp that kept showing up? Cadence issues, false starts, all the pre-snap penalties, even dating back to mini camp, that was like problems with the offensive line and with the quarterback. And while everything in the preseason doesn't necessarily show up in week 1, week 2 during the season, like it sometimes is a foreshadowing element of things that might be a problem for you when you get to week 1. And I think that's, obviously the crowd noise, Caleb having to work with the silent count probably is a newer thing for him, especially doing it under center. Like all of those things you expect some lumps, but to look the way that it did, 9 penalties with, the delay of game coming out of a timeout, 2 false starts coming out of a timeout. That's just like, to me, those are the things that shouldn't happen. Like that should, in talent, effort, all of those things go hand in hand, but like the mental errors and that stuff, I think is a team that shows you like that they're just not there yet offensively.
When you look at the running back position and how they're using a guy they made a priority signing in Swift out the gate, then you're seeing Travis Homer in there. Week 1, you're seeing a Velas show for some reason. I mean, where do these decisions come from? Like, isn't Swift the guy that you're trying to attach yourself to with a young quarterback? All of a sudden it's the Travis Homer show.
Yeah, the Travis Homer on third down thing. I think even Matt Eberflus was a little miffed by that, just given his response to it on Monday. But
he's the head coach, though.
Yeah, no, I get it. I totally get it.
He needs to go down to his office.
Yeah,
over on both sides of the audio pack. He can listen to offense. He can listen to defense.
Yeah,
he can choose both. But that's the conspiracy in me is like, well, this is a guy from Seattle. He's got all these things.
So is Gerald Everett. Yeah,
and that's sometimes I think it is comfort of knowing, okay, I've had this guy in my system before. We're working this out. The training wheels are still on. Like that might be part of it. But the DeAndre Swift cannot be averaging 1.6, 1.8 yards a carry. That's abysmal. Like that's not even just bad. That's like bottom of the barrel. Like what the hell's going on?
Yeah.
And that's problematic because I get it. The personnel changed a lot, but this was the number 2 rushing team in the NFL last year. Yeah, Justin's gone. Most of your running backs are around, but like still, like this is your offensive line by and large is the same. That is, you can't tell me that like all of a sudden like they don't have the capability of running the ball. Like in you're not putting that on your quarterback because you wanted to go away from that. You wanted to go to a quarterback that is going to allow you to have a more concerted effort to pass the ball. That's fine, but that doesn't mean that you can abandon and make yourself one-dimensional by not finding some strategy to run the ball. And of course, in week 1, it's like, all right, why are you running up the gut into Sweat and into Simmons on 3rd and 1? Well, this time then it's like, all right, you're forcing it to the edge. It's not working because you have really fast defensive ends that are closing in. Like it just felt like there was no true adjustment to that. And I'm sorry, you can't have, like if you take Caleb away and his 5 scrambles, more or less, I don't know if any of those were, well, there's like one maybe that was a designed run, like on a read option, but like everything else was him running for his life. If you take that away, like the rest of your group is averaging 1.8 yards per carry, that's really, really bad. That's a big indictment on the running back room, but also on the offensive line and the person who's calling those runs and coordinating the runs. So that's a Chris Morgan thing, and Shane Waldron.
Yeah, Chris Morgan's the run game guy. He needs to learn how to coach O-line first before. Anyway, speaking of run game, is there a way that you can kind of stress for us to this coaching staff why all of the shotgun? Why? Like it's insanity.
It's endemic around the league, running out of the shotgun. I don't get it. I've never understood the emphasis on it. I know it's a different look, but I'm with you on that. I think
it's all through college football also.
It's 3rd and 1. Yeah, well, the national champion last year didn't do that.
Right.
But that's Alabama's not doing that. 3rd and 1, they're running freaking offset I and powering it in there. I just don't understand this hire of Shane Waldron. I said it when it happened, and I'm feeling it now. Like just with I don't think there's a conspiracy. I think you're 100% right, Courtney. An OC that calls plays to personnel that he's comfortable with is not a good OC. That's football arithmetic. You have to have this kid Swift, and you have Mercedes Lewis, and you have Cole Kmet, and they're not on the field creating an edge for a speed back or some kind. I mean, it's just insanity.
Yeah, there's like the whole idea about like if you want to prevent these blitz looks from happening, you have to, and they weren't even that complicated. Again, they weren't sending like 7, they weren't sending 6, or sending 5. Like it was a very standard, like just one extra rusher that became a free rusher a lot of times.
Exactly.
So, like if you want to combat that, you need to run the ball. Like, but you can get blitz too when you're running the ball. Like their blitz looks. I don't know if people are aware of that. Like, but it is possible, which is why I just think it's not as complicated as it has to be, as it like seems. Like, oh man, like we've tried this, we've tried that. Like, live in max protection. I don't see why it's such a big issue. And I know that they have an injury to their fullback right now, who they kept on this roster because he's a great blocker. He's a culture guy. All the great things that you can say about Kari Blasingame are true. But if
he had a tough game one, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, no, I mean, he got hurt too. He hurt his hand. He's got an elbow injury, I believe. Like, it's not great, but you have the personnel to do it. Like, it feels if you're not going to like try, and then you get it, it takes a guy away that you could be using downfield on a route. Well, scheme up more. Like DJ Moore got 10 targets last game. I did a story last year when they were like struggling to find a way to get him the ball. It showed, okay, if he gets over like, I think it was like 9 targets a game, chances are they're probably going to win the game. And lo and behold, they started figuring out when you feed your best players, great things happen. Now, obviously, the opponents know, okay, well, if the ball's going here, like, for example, like it seems like a no-brainer to run the ball on the Colts this week. Sure. Does that mean they're going to get a lot of heavy boxes because they know that they're going to run? Potentially, but then that should open things up in the passing game. There's always a push and a pull to it.
To your point, exactly.
To act like, it's like, oh, it's impossible to do. No, like, and even they know that. Like, I'll be very curious to see what Shane Waldron says tomorrow about why for a second straight week it happened the way that it did. And I think the run game actually looked worse this past week than it did against Tennessee.
I totally agree. And you should be going out there. Sorry, Shane, because she made such a great point. I think fans and some of these frauds in the chat that just have an agenda should understand that if you give a run look and they are in the box because they're going to run at it, that's the perfect time for play action, max protect. With
play action on 7 snaps last, and I think he was 2 of 7. That's not enough.
It's not. It's a sin. It's a football sin what we saw last week. It's like you played offensively right into Tennessee's strength.
Bill, we talked about it right before Courtney got here. 81 snaps for Caleb. 63 of those snaps are in 11 personnel.
It's ridiculous.
How do you?
Interesting because this was like he did run 12 personnel.
Exactly.
And like they didn't throw out of it. I'll say that they didn't throw out of it in Seattle a whole lot, but like you have the capability of it now.
Is it him trying to showcase stuff for the next gig? I don't know. I don't know how to answer it. It's mind-boggling how you get there with a rookie quarterback.
You do it by not being good at what you do. I always say football is an act. The best team that could show something and counter off of it, they're usually offensively going to win. The Bears, it looks like Matt Nagy again, Courtney, just throwing shit at the wall. Let's see. Maybe this trick play will work here. It doesn't even exist. You've not shown. Like week 1, I'm sorry. Week 1, they're running toss, fake, boot, and haven't run toss once.
Yeah.
They haven't run it once. It was on 2nd down. They ran toss, fake, boot. And the end's sitting right out there. He hasn't seen Swift get outside of him or threaten that edge. So, of course, he just stayed at home. And this is the kind of stuff that you just don't see. You have to look like you're, professional, and they have it on offense. And it's unfortunate. I don't know the verbiage like you do because you're a wordsmith, but to blame Caleb for this travesty so far of a game plan, like protect him, put 2 tight ends in there, chip, run 2-man routes with this and let him get out the edge by blocking the edge. And then he can decide what he's going to do. Is he going to run or is he going to take that shot? But this 11 personnel with nobody helping, and we got to get Gerald Everett a screen pass. For fuck's sake. It's infuriating.
Yeah, and I think the people who want to, like, you can't absolve Caleb of, there's like different categories of this. Like, he wasn't perfect, and he hasn't been perfect. 100%. We expected him to be, but it's not due to, like, it's nothing. Can you blame him for going full Brett Favre and like throwing across his body across the field? 100%. That's a stupid throw, and he knows he should never have made that throw. And he said today, like they were literally 2 stupid plays, the 2 interceptions that he's talking about. That's like blame him for those things. Blame him for you know, I think the sack that he took in week 1 was, more on him than anything else. But even still, like, you can't, like, when Flus talked about, all right, why is there no downfield passing attack? This was Monday. He said, some of that too is like when the quarterback doesn't get his feet set. If the guy has Coleman Shelton in his lap, second after the ball snap, like, let's be real about it. And I get it. The coach is not like, this is a game of like 3D chess. They have to massage what they're going to say so it doesn't look like they're just pinning the blame on the offensive line and saying like the offensive line's terrible. You're the root of all of our problems. Because of course Caleb wasn't perfect, but on things like that, the reason there's no downfield passing attacks not because he's getting his fucking feet set or he's not getting his feet set. Come on, like that's bullshit. Like that is not true. Footwork, sure. Footwork in week 1, if you want to call it an issue, all right, that's fine. He was, he had happy feet. He was definitely rushing through his dropbacks because he was nervous. Like I know he said he doesn't get nervous.
Yeah, that's bullshit. Right, exactly.
I called bullshit on that right away.
When it's hard. Like when you watch the game back and you see how quickly his linemen are getting backed up into him. Of course, he's not able to like make these aren't 3-second route concepts where a guy's just like getting out on a slant and like that's how you're going to plan to move the ball down the field. Maybe it should be until they can learn how to pass protect, but you can't screen your way as they've shown us. They can't do that. Like you can't screen your way into like creating a passing game right now. But it's not, again, it's not to say that like there's nothing wrong with Caleb. There's a lot that he has to work on, but to blame the biggest issue right now, which is the lack of a run game and all of the protection, and putting him in that, like he's a smaller piece of the pie here than I think. I think
I'm with you 100%. I'm with you 100% on Caleb.
Courtney, do you think that the lack of Roshan, do you think it's just specifically injury related? I mean, you back up a year and this, I still remember the post-draft.
I'll tell you that.
Yeah, the post-draft presser, franchise pillar.
Yeah,
that was their words.
Face. Glad he kept his helmet on. I mean, it's weird because like he had the injury, but then like he was cleared. He could have played. He didn't. To me, that the third down stuff, maybe a little bit more Roshan, a little less Travis Homer in those situations. Like that. I don't understand this one because he's your draft pick. 4th round pick from 2 years ago, was a great special teamer for you last year. This is supposed to be the chance he had to, step into a bigger role. So whether injury has prevented that, I can't think of anything else. It's not like, Khalil Herbert had a great camp, but it's, you got to find ways. If you really think that this guy is like the next one and you felt compelled to go get DeAndre Swift, like this is supposed to be a much different look in the running back.
And give yourself options. I mean, they're bringing it, in week 1, they bring in
Bayless,
Mercedes Lewis, and they bring in Kari Blasingame. And gee, what are they going to do? Everybody knows what you're going to do when those guys come in.
Yeah.
And that's what I know. Roshan wasn't dressed week 1, but I said in week 2, I'm using Roshan and DeAndre Swift in the backfield together. Give yourself some options. That's only going to help Caleb and simplify everything. But is it too tough for them to figure it out? I don't get it.
Waldron. Caleb protected. What were his numbers? There was like some insanity, like 71%. He's hitting everything, right? I'm not a numbers guy, but someone had sent me this. But when he
wasn't blitzed?
When he wasn't blitzed.
He was 20 for 25.
There you go. 20 for 25 as a rookie on the road against that. But when he's getting pressure, and it wasn't like normal pressure, Courtney. No. It was like you said, bodies on falling on, people on his leg. It was like 85 Bears versus Patriots, like shots. That last shot, with Mario Edwards.
Yeah.
I thought this kid might not get up. I mean,
you're not the only one who felt that. I think that he's not going to survive. And it's like he's going to get hurt at some point or he's going to get a concussion. And you don't wish that on anybody. But it's like this should be a nice wake-up call for them to realize that you can't have that happen. Because, like, also, and I was looking up this number I had. like to your point, we were talking about like what happens when he wasn't blitzed. Like, so through 2 weeks, I think he's thrown 271 yards, something like that. Something, or maybe it's a little bit less than that, but like from a clean pocket, like, so he's 35 of 52, 247 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions, but that's on clean pocket throws. And it's 4.8 yards per attempt. So he's great. He's a check down guy right now because that's what you are making him into being. It's just not efficient. And like, I worry about, it's not, the Bryce Young situation can happen to any team. It really can. Like, obviously there's negligence in Carolina based on how the coaching staff was handled in his first year and just how I think the owners meddled in affairs that he should not have. But you don't want to, what I'm trying to say is, like, people don't realize how quickly that can happen to a rookie quarterback. So like, why would you ever even teeter on the edge of like going down that road? You don't. You had your wake up call. You had your scare this past week. You need to make sure that never happens again. You can break somebody's confidence really quickly when they're getting that much. I mean,
as a head coach, I would take over and tell this fuck, you are max. I know he mentioned chips and whatever in that Monday press. He's mentioning these things, right? Because it's imperative that your offensive coordinator understand that if there's an edge rushing phenom, but no, there's two, like ShamWow, there's more. Let's do something there. I mean, it felt like Cleveland with Justin Fields all over again. Like, the immense stupidity was there on display when you just couldn't fathom it. And then you have idiots and assholes like, 1 touchdown in 8 quarters is unacceptable. He hasn't thrown a touchdown pass yet. Well, what would happen? My son Tate wanted me to ask you on the drive home from practice. He's like, can you ask Courtney? Because he's a quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
So he's like, if Allen had caught that touchdown the first game right in his hands, and Rome had caught this touchdown, would the story about Caleb be different?
Yeah, absolutely it would, because it would be like, oh, he threw a touchdown.
This is a 10-year-old asking you this.
I know it doesn't seem like a big deal, but it is. And
100%.
Those were catchable balls. And I think his overall stat line by this point would reflect something completely different if there were a couple throws. There were 2 throws in week 1, including the Keenan Allen one, that were like, they were.
Gerald Everett dropped that one coming across.
And then the one this week was the DPI that was to DeAndre Carter.
That was a dime
throw. And I mean, the safety went to USC, so maybe he knew he could bait him into the DPI there, and then that one didn't count, and then the Rome one didn't count. So like, I honestly think his if we're like splitting the hairs on numbers, that's one thing, but I do think if those throws were caught, especially the 2 that lead to touchdowns, I think it's a completely different story. I think people are a lot calmer about the way that it looks because those are points. Those are points that are on the board. And this was like, I guess the silver lining in all of this, the Texans were a playoff team last year. Like, you had a 1-score game for most of Sunday against a playoff team. That's a pretty good spot to be in.
You had the game on the line in the last drive of the game. You could have won the game, right? And that's
he hits Rome for that 27-yard gain.
Man, watching that back too, Rome had some room to.
Yeah,
he had some room to make it a lot bigger too. I think if he's not dinged a little bit,
cutting a certain different way. Yeah,
totally agree.
I was, when they were talking about Friday, like, well, you have pitch counts for guys, like based on other, on their health and everything.
Yeah.
He played, pulled it up,
98% of the snaps,
94% of snaps, which is crazy to think about for a guy who had sprain in his right leg. Like, I saw him today. It's all taped up, like really taped, like heavy tape underneath his tights. He's wearing at practice. Like, I'm shocked. I mean, 22 years old, I guess. Like, that's.
Yeah. And did you see Dan Orlovsky's comment today about Caleb and Rome? I'm like, oh my God. Sometimes Dan just drives me nuts with some of the, like, just holster the tweeter.
He ruins Connecticut. He ruins it, Dan.
He said, Roma Dunze is not getting open at all this season, so Caleb's going to have to learn to be comfortable to throw him 50-50 balls. I'm like, well, he fucking threw him one, Dan, in the end zone. I mean, I know it was only one, but yeah, that's a big part of Rome's.
That's what he had the highest contested catch rate, and him and Luke McCaffrey were tied for the highest contested catch rate in college football last year.
Like, you're just going out of your way to.
She's pulling stats from college out off the top of her dome.
Like, I remember listening to, might have been the TV broadcast. So, like, I don't know if Collinsworth somebody said it was a little high. I'm like, if we're splitting hairs here, come on. He had first round.
2 hands on the ball.
Like, it tipped off the top of his fingers. Like, you got to catch that.
Yeah, that was a must catch.
He knows that.
My coach at Hofstra would bench me if I dropped that with the hands on that. It's frustrating. But that, there's my son. He's 10 and he gets it. But yet there's adults, even in this chat, that are so more. It infuriates me how. And I was talking about this before you came on, and we talked about it right leading up to the draft and after the draft with you. The divisiveness of this fan base. Like, fans here want to get behind Drake May in New England when he goes in. They're going to try to bring him. They're not going to bury this kid at every turn. But here we are, Chicago Bears. We're comparing Fields, who's gone, to Caleb, who's here.
It's a little hard to me. I don't really understand. But again, like, I'm not a fan. So, like, I don't have the tie to a specific player. I don't understand why it's not a more uniform, like, and I get it. Like, Justin's been gone now for 7 months, and like, there were people who wanted him to stay. And I think it's simply because the biggest issue by and large that was around personnel wise when he was here was the offensive line. Biggest issue right now looks like the offensive line. So it looks like, oh, well, Justin was trying, like, he wasn't at fault here. And I guess it's just revisionist history. All it is revisionist history of, oh, well, if they would have kept Justin Fields, they had the number 1 overall pick. They could have traded it and gotten the Hall. Remember that crowd?
Oh yeah.
I thought I was never going to do that again. And those people started coming out of the woodwork the last couple of days. Like, I just don't understand why people can't move on to be like, all right, look, like, the team where it's at right now, like, get behind the guy who's playing quarterback. Like, why would you want your guy to fail? Because that's how it's coming across from a certain portion of this fan base.
Yeah, because people are more concerned about being right. That's
they're rooting against the team and want to see someone fail just to be right. It's disgraceful, in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't get it. That one doesn't make a lot of sense to me, because it's like, this is your product that, you work all week. You want to watch these games on the weekend. Like, don't you want your team to win? Like, this whole like masochistic way of being a fan. I don't understand why you'd waste your time with that. But that's just me.
Yeah,
I just want to check in with you because you're pretty sane in mind. So I want to make sure I'm there too. Like, is this where this world is?
Yeah,
it's crazy. I don't know how you do it.
Everybody wants to be like, I told you so. I want to pull up this old tweet. Like, I told you so. Like, everybody wants to be that. Like, I don't know. I don't have time for that. It's so annoying.
It really is. It is annoying.
Courtney, we talked about Roshan a little bit. What do you think's going on with Tyler Scott?
I mean,
I was a little, and not saying that he hasn't played decent, but if I were to tell you that, 3-4 weeks ago that DeAndre Carter was going to be essentially a big focal point of the Bears offense in week 2, I think you probably would have had me committed, but
yeah,
it's
weird. It feels like he's wide receiver 3 right now. And, some of that could be familiarity. I mean, Chris Beatty was, I believe, his receivers coach with the Chargers. I think those two definitely overlapped for a bit. Could be familiarity with the personnel. Could also be that, I thought Carter had a good game, like, for the most part. I mean, for like the first 6 targets, and you're like, oh, why are they featuring this guy as much as they are? But it's a little jarring. I just pulled up his snap counts. Like, he played 50 snaps last week. Tyler Scott played 3.
Yeah.
Wow.
bizarre to me. Like that's such a jarring number.
It is.
And this was they kept positioning it as this is Tyler's opportunity this week. You're going to be active. Like this is your moment to go out and get it. Yet he wasn't even given an opportunity to really do that. And you can't convince me, matchups. No, he's the third or fourth receiver on the depth chart. You don't have to worry about it that much.
He's not going to be a Bear in 2025.
It feels
he's 31 years old.
It's weird. Like it's weird that like this was your draft pick from a year ago. You saw some flashes. You wanted to put him in a situation where year 2 he was going to have like a nice launch pad, but he's not active week 1 because you made Velus active week 1. Well, that didn't work out. Make Velus an active week 2. Tyler's active week 2. Yet he's an afterthought completely.
Yeah, it is.
That to me feels like personnel that like straight up got forgot about, like on the game plan, like from
right.
Offensive coordinator perspective, like somebody where it's like, oh shit, like Tyler's active, I forgot. That's how it
that sounds like the Matt Waldron I'm learning.
Week I was gonna bring this up. So today when we were out there, he was doing individuals with the wide receivers. So I'm like, is he a wide receiver again?
Oh,
Bayless?
For real?
Out there with the wide receivers today. Like when we saw it during individual. Now I don't know what he did during practice.
Yep.
Doubt he's ever gonna go back to being the kick returner, but was just kind of interesting that he was out there with the wide receivers.
Heck yeah. Breaking news here, Bullets. He was out there with the.
I just don't.
Let me ask you this. The defense, that has looked very good. I don't want to skip over the positives here.
No, it's like there's a great side of the ball right now that feels like it's not being talked about because the offense is such a storyline. But no, they've played great. They really have. And I think that's such a silver lining for Caleb to be in a situation where he doesn't have to have everything on his shoulders, but you got to be able to shoulder some of it, like not just him,
right.
Offense.
No, I totally got what you were saying.
No, think about all the questions we had about this pass rush, like going into the season, and now it's kind of feels like, hey, okay, like leave it alone, like don't fix something that doesn't need to be fixed right at this moment. Like that's a top 5, top 10, whatever number you want to put on it for their ceiling. That's a really good defense.
And you look at Andrew Billings and how he's been playing lately. Are you talking about a guy that is really playing with a motor?
Yeah. I'm convinced he yelled move. I didn't hear it, but like I'm convinced that he made the center jump off. He was trying to left guard and that first quarter offsides that they had, and that's what he's really good at.
Yeah.
Then you look at the big trade that never was for what's his name down in New England, sent him to Atlanta, my guy. Yeah. But they get Darrell Taylor instrumental in that week 1 win. And now he
had it. Like I will give him a lot of credit. Like he's probably, for all of the reserve depth pieces, whatever, he's playing the third most snaps of all the defensive ends. So he's your number 3 defensive end. And say what you want. I mean, CJ Stroud's insane when he hits Nico Collins on the 18-yarder, but
that was nuts.
Taylor had him in pursuit.
He was right there. Yeah.
Oh, that motor that was impressive.
See, like that to me was the throw was insane, but that's what you have when you have like a really, one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL playing. But the pursuit and like being able to like finish that playoff, he's hitting him while he's making that throw. Like you need to see that. And he's already like very quickly 2 weeks in made himself the most, a very part of the.
Do you think they go to a guy like that in October or November if he's still playing like this? Because he's going to be a free agent.
Mm-hmm. Like, do you think they go to him and like get him a contract?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that you've got to see what like the numbers are, the sack numbers are. Unless he play, he's a rotational piece too. I don't think you need to like.
Right. No. I'm not saying break the bank, but I mean that's critical to this team. I mean, because we don't. I mean, Dominique
Billings in the middle of last season too.
Yeah,
they could do like a team friendly deal. I could
sure. Yeah, give him some cash up front, and what was he, a third round pick?
You brought up the play. I mean, you want to see it transition from one week. Yeah,
he's
1 week.
That's what you want. Yeah,
he comes in, sets the tone, right? But then the next week, he comes down. Nope, that play for me, he was freaking 1/10 of a second from that sack, like you said. and it just showed that same kind of motor, effort, bend. And listen, a guy that got new life. I wish they would allow you to like sit down, do these stories with some of these guys that are unknowns like him, that are new to the team, and give you access that fans would like, because who is Darrell Taylor?
Yeah.
You know, and that kid is legit.
Yeah,
Go
and
ahead, I'm sorry.
it's a great pickup, like where it was a cost-effective option when you struck out on the guy you were really after. And through 2 games, it looks like a home run. Now, there's a lot of season left, and we'll see if the pass rush can continue to hold up the way that it did. CJ Stroud, outside of that throw, like, he wasn't spectacular on Sunday. Like, the defense really did a good job of forcing his hand a little bit. I was very impressed with what they came away with. Holding a Texans offense that has as good of a receiving core, I mean, certainly a healthier receiving core in the Bears right now, holding them to 19 points. And most of that was Kaimi Fairbairn, who's like insane.
Unbelievable.
I wonder what's going to happen when he's going to have to kick a field goal that's from like 30 to 49 yards.
He's going to miss. That was like unfair. It's just like, okay, we get the midfield, we can line up and kick.
Wild. Guy's got like a iron leg. It's nuts.
But it seems like defenses with these kickers that have gotten so crazy, like you said, Courtney, it seems like maybe the whole philosophy in the NFL on defense, because I think back to Flus, I think he said it to, I forget who he said it to. Maybe it was the team. He's like, every drive needs to end in a kick.
And yeah, with a kick. So either like that or I mean, it just means like.
Right. But you know what I mean? We're not giving up 6. Well, yeah. if we have to give up 3, that's, you know, it is what it is. It's interesting. But one thing I wanted to ask you, Courtney, this is backing up a little bit. If you weren't covering the Bears and in Chicago, would you have still watched Hard Knocks, or would you have tapped out?
So usually, like in previous years, I'll always watch the first one because I'm curious, like how it's going to be positioned. I probably, if I'm just being honest about it, I don't think I would have made it past the first episode had I not been like, you know, watching it for like this is what I cover. You want to see what they have. Like if they're giving Hard Knocks any special access, if there's any good storylines. I thought the Ian Wheeler and Adrian Colbert storylines, I thought they were played very well, but like everybody who, you know, your team's in the national spotlight for good reasons during the off season when everybody's 0-0, like this was your chance to really highlight the personalities you have on this team. We didn't hear about Montez Sweat one time, which is baffling to me. And yeah, he may not want to talk. I'm sure he's not a big media guy, whatever. That's cool. But like, the guy's a Pro Bowl defensive end and you don't hear about him once. Like acted like he wasn't on the team. And then of course, not a lot of access at all to Caleb Williams. You know, DJ's a very media friendly person. I thought it was cool to get to see, you know, I thought the last episode, I'm glad I stayed and watched through the whole thing. Cause like Ian Wheeler packing up and going back to Houston to do the surgery, that's emotional. The Adrian Colbert thing, you see the human side of Ryan Poles that, you know, I've always given him credit for it. I think he's a very cerebral GM. He gets it. He understands that there's a human element of it too. That was an emotional watch. I think that if you're seeing that, you see, okay, this guy's a person and it's a business, but this is the shitty side of the business. And then DJ Moore at the end, you know, this is generational wealth that he has earned for himself, and to move into your new home, to expand your family, like those are great things, but there's so much missing.
Well,
we could have watched a lot more of the personalities on this team than we got to see.
Yeah, the game that I ran into you in Buffalo.
Yeah.
We were down there early before you and I got to talk, and I mean, you know how it is. You're over there, and the whole Hard Knocks crew is everywhere all of the time. And we were there early enough. A couple of the people were sitting there, and we were talking, and then George McCaskey came down behind us, and everybody was talking and taking pictures and shit. And I was sitting there talking to the one Hard Knocks guy. I was just drinking a bottle of water, and I said, "How's everything going?" He's like, "Good, good." And I said, "Are we going to see much of this guy?" And he's like, "Yeah, that's not going to be happening at all." So it seemed like it was Seemed like it was an
George
ultimatum.
being Hard Knocks, and that's
Yeah.
well, maybe this is the Bears were so opposed to it for so long.
Yeah.
Maybe it was their strategy to get them to never come back.
He just started laughing, and he's like, "Yeah." He goes, "That's not going to be happening."
Yeah,
So
no, I
definitely felt like an ultimatum came down.
Yeah, and it's like, the middle couple episodes were it just there wasn't like a whole lot that, was really compelling TV. And when you're in it every single day, like, a lot of the big, like, the major players, the guys who drive a lot of the storylines for the team. But I think that, like, there was a national fan base that they could have tapped in with that, like, probably would have liked to learn a little bit more about Caleb Williams. Like, really learned nothing about Rome. Like,
No, I thought that would be
went to the store and bought Skittles and Starburst.
Yeah, they did the rookie stuff where they, like, rookie teasing or whatever. It's not even
He likes pink Starburst. Yeah,
for everybody.
I prefer yellow Starburst.
Oh, that's because you're fucking
buying
savage,
candles. Like, I don't know. I mean, I think them buying candles at a Jewel was a little questionable on that choice, but no, I mean, I would have liked to have seen. Caleb was at least living with John Jackson, the guy who, played with him at USC. He gets signed as a UDFA. Like, I would have loved to have seen the cameras come into the home and show us what it's like when you are on the team with your best friend who's trying to make the team. Like, what is that dynamic like? But again, like, they're in camp, like, they're staying at the hotel for the most part of camp. Like, and it's just, could be up to the players too, but it's also, I mean, the team has editorial control. So they were very much like, here's the line, you're not crossing it. And that's what you get with the product. But yeah, to come roundabout way of answering your question, Shane, I don't usually watch the entire season of Hard Knocks. It's exciting for the first one. And I don't know if for whoever gets it next year, I don't know if I'll watch more in the first.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a Bears guy, and I was just like, I was talking to my son. I'm like, man, if this wasn't the Bears, I would have been completely tapped out.
I think the most impressive part, like with the whole not cursing thing, like I noticed that the first episode, I'm like, wait a second. I think the only curse we heard was when one of Eberflus's daughters was at the Hall of Fame game. And it didn't like beep it, but they like just kind of like took the audio out for a second. I'm like, that's interesting. And then when they're doing the rookie karaoke, like when they have to, like Ian Wheeler picking Finito by Chief Keef, which is not a song that has a lot of friendly words in it. To have the clean version of that and to rap the clean version of that in front of an entire room without just like accidentally saying something, because it would be very difficult, I would imagine, if song, to not like accidentally slip up and say something. I mean, the guy went to Howard. He's very intelligent. He is a pre-med guy. I mean, clearly he's playing 3D chess. And I thought that was a nice challenge for him that he clearly succeeded on.
Do you think he was on this roster if he didn't get hurt?
Practice squad for sure.
Yep.
Practice squad for sure. I mean, he's fast as hell. Like, I
He
feel
deserved the roster over Velus, no doubt in my mind.
I mean, like the way they were positioning that at the end, like now it makes sense a little bit more, but in camp it never felt like that.
That's sad. It's sad because it popped off on what we saw.
Yeah.
When in game, it was very clear this dude is legitly breaking tackles, physically running downhill like none of the other ones.
Mm-hmm. And they were like, it felt like they were positioning him in a way where, remember, they kept showing like all of the drops. Like,
yeah.
It felt like they were not like sabotaging the kid, but it just felt like, okay, like they're clearly picking like the guy to pick on in this, where they didn't show like many negative plays. You didn't see the days that Caleb had really bad days at training camp. You didn't see any of that in Hard Knocks.
It's unfortunate that George, I hated it. I hated that they allowed McCaskey to decide.
Well, they allow I mean, that's never going to change. They allow owners, they allow people who
to the level of losing authenticity, just like you're saying.
I agree. The Giants
cross a line.
The Giants showed everybody their dirty laundry. And
right.
Do that. Like, my God, I think we learned so much about like the trade that, the free agent signing that blew up everything for the Giants so far. Like, we got to see all of that aired out in real time, and they're the ones who allowed that. I don't know. Maybe the Bears saw that and were like, whoa, absolutely not. We're taking the opposite approach. But I think they were taking the opposite approach anyways.
They always take the opposite approach. About rookie punter, can you see the difference in this kid as a punter than our punters past?
I mean, if he's averaging like anywhere between like 47 and 50, that's great. That's great. Like, I mean, they view him as a weapon. Like in terms of flipping field position, they've had some good ones. They've had some good opportunities through 2 games. Some of that is based on, kickoff return too. But I think that it's too early to judge that pick. If anybody is like upset about it, I think it was a good.
I love it.
I think it was a smart pickup for what it was, and knowing when the offense, if it does get, assuming it gets on track, that's going to be a huge asset when he's able to feed off of what they do. If they go down and score 7 and like he doesn't have to get out there after they go 3 and out or something like that. I think it's going to be a really good situation for all parties involved. But so far, I mean, when he's been out there quite a bit lately, I think he's done a really good job.
Well, you do a great job, and I know we keep you on.
Do you ever get tired, Courtney? Because you are everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, it's that time of the season where like I had I made the stupid decision on Monday because I booked my flight a long time ago. Like it was a Sunday night game and I had a 6:30 a.m. flight out of Houston. So like I took a 50-minute nap when I got back to my hotel. I'm like, I'm too old for this shit. Like there's like, stuff that I would do when I first got onto the beat, like, in Minnesota at 27 that I'm like trying to do now all these years later. Like just you get humbled very quick when you get old. And I
know.
It's still better than driving from the city to Buffalo, isn't it?
It's a lot.
It's still better than driving from the city to Buffalo, though, right?
Oh my God, it took me 7 hours. That was awful.
I know. That was.
Did you listen to music? Do you listen to do you watch a show halfway?
How can you watch a show while you're driving?
Like you put it on the side and you kind of listen to the show.
Absolutely not. I would absolutely not. That would be a disaster for all parties involved on the highway. I had music going, listened to a podcast. My colleague, I had just done First Take that morning with Harry Douglas. So like Freddie and Harry's on 3 to 7. So I'm like, whatever, like I'll tune in and see what they're saying today. So I listened to that for a good portion of the drive. But yeah, it took me a long time. I do not recommend anybody making
such a boring drive too.
I wasn't sure where I was half the time. I'm like, all right, I'm in New York. All right, I'm in the state of New Jersey. All right, I'm in Pennsylvania. Now I'm back in New York. Like, your like East Coast thing doesn't make a lot of sense to somebody from the Midwest, where there are clear lines that divide states, not all this blurred shit that like you guys have out there. It's very weird.
Yeah, especially in the city. Well, I saw your tweet and I'm like, because I was driving to Buffalo and I'm like, oh, maybe she's behind us right now. But yeah, that is a shitty drive from the city to Buffalo. Oh,
great.
The worst.
Well, she is the best, honestly. So appreciate you jumping on with us.
Of course.
Catching us up on the ongoing soap opera that George McCaskey can't control that is on the football field with the Chicago Bears. Obviously, we're probably going to be up there in Chicago for New England, Chicago.
November 10th.
So Jim is planning something.
Nice.
Obviously, they sold the house, but TTNL party is going to happen at some place.
Very cool.
That you will be invited to, and it's going to be a fun time. And we'll talk to you obviously before then because the Bears. So we got to talk about this shit. Hopefully they turn it around and make some changes across the offensive line or personnel usage, play calling. That's where you have hope with the Bears. But we always end on hope with you coming here on the show. So thank you so much for jumping on with me and Shane. And until we see you again, I guess, anything you're promoting or involved in now?
I mean, it's just, the usual grind. You guys know where to find me. So it's going to be a long season, but like it should be a fruitful season if they can just get the stuff on track. I mean, people are still really interested in the Bears after 2 weeks. It's not okay. Like saw what they were like, and then everybody's tuning out now. So yeah, it's gonna be a good busy time, but it's it's all part of it.
Well, thank you for coming on. Wait, Cherie wants to say goodbye.
Looks like she saw a ghost.
Looks like she saw a ghost.
What were you watching, Cherie?
What were you watching, Cherie? You were listening.
What are you talking about?
You look like you were seeing a ghost when I said you want to say goodbye to Courtney.
Oh, because I had another browser open. I'm doing my fantasy lineup. So
you got a bad lineup.
You weren't listening to Courtney. That's real nice.
I was listening.
I'm not mad at it. Like I have multiple all the time. I have like 5 different tabs open in my brain.
Tell her who your fantasy quarterback was 4 years ago, Cherie.
Shut up. We were not
just
Blake Bortles.
Blake
Bortles.
Oh
my God.
Blake Bortles.
Get him in. Did you even draft him, or was he like a?
No, it was. We were doing a trial for like the fantasy show, and they recorded it. So it was nothing that was public, but they have made it public now. Thank you, Shane and Phil. But yeah, I got my mind went blank, and they were talking about sleeper quarterbacks, and because he was the backup to Aaron Rodgers at that time, and I thought Aaron Rodgers would get hurt.
We actually have video of as soon as you drafted him, Cherie.
That's a great video, Cherie. You shouldn't feel any sort of.
Oh my gosh!
Your best life, having fun.
That's right.
Awesome.
I blame Jim. Jim is lucky I love him. Otherwise,
He caught Harrison Quarter on tape.
Took him 2 seconds to text me that, and I'm like, "Oh, she's in trouble."
Well, have a great night, Courtney. Get some rest,
Thank
you for giving us your time tonight. And go after Waldron tomorrow for us.
You can keep me in check if I don't.
Don't make him shake like he was on the sideline.
Yeah, that was weird. I was like, is the roof open? Is that the reason? Is the wind coming in? Like, no way. Like, but yeah,
it's like
so weird. So, all right, guys. Thank you.
Bye, Courtney.
Have a great night, Court. Thank you again. The great Courtney Cronin. Jane.
Yeah, that was.
There's Ivan. We don't bring him on with Courtney. Look at him. He's too laid back.
Okay.
Ivan sent me the best text ever today. He sent me the best text ever today. We were chatting back and forth, and he's like, "You know me, dude. I like to keep it low key." And I'm like, "There is nothing low key about that glorious stash, bro."
Ivan had some rants on BHL.
He did.
Went fucking ballistic.
Yeah. Phil, you shut the fuck up. Watch this.
I was about to bring Angelo on for him to cheer him up. That would be the only thing that would cheer Ivan up. Makes Cherie mad and Ivan happy. The Angelo vortex.
Yeah. Jesus. What a good night though. Courtney was awesome. The chat was on fire. I mean, you had Logan Frost and Zach saying the same exact fucking comment 57 times in a row.
What does it say? I'm dumb at football? What does it say?
You shouldn't be playing a rookie quarterback, and then same old thing. They just said it 50 different ways over and over and over again.
Okay.
It's always fun.
Logan
Where was the other good one that I
we
have
should
a new guy?
Dumbest chats of the week.
TB17.
Here we go. Dumbest
Agent is light years ahead of Caleb in terms of the mental aspect of playing quarterback.
Wow.
Yes. He's got the old mental meter out recording it. I mean,
how does he know? His name
is TB17. So he knows. It's good.
Is that Tyson Bagent or Tom Brady?
I would say
it's definitely Tyson Bagent.
17.
I don't know.
17. Like,
wouldn't it be 12 if it was Tom?
Tom has only won one number. So
well, Tyson Bagent 17. Everyone loves the backup quarterback. That's a nut. That's what happens.
Yeah,
that's Chicago for you, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh, it's everywhere. It's usually everywhere. That doesn't win. So when you don't win, you're always rooting for the backup quarterback.
I'll agree with you there, TB17, because we're always getting fucking hated on.
Yeah,
so
yes,
you're right about one thing.
Finally,
we love it.
He finally said a right thing. Ivan was talking about that the other day. It's hilarious, the hate. Like, to me, what Logan and Zach are saying 5,000 different ways is dumb. And the reason it's dumb is because you have a different type of athlete here. What we're dealing with, they're going to hold under the context. Well, Waldron sucks. So you don't want to put the quarterback behind that. But that's the whole point. You're hoping that he doesn't suck. When we're looking at this, the offensive line suck. I can't play. I can't call the plays for the Bears.
That's not the point, Logan. That's not what we're saying. It's not about proving you wrong. We're saying probably don't need to say the same comment 65 times in a row in the chat. That's the
Get it.
Yeah, we get it. But do you want to? I know this guy is no longer a part of the family. Somebody blocked him, but this is the funny part. You know, should have kept Justin. Should have kept him. I mean, Caleb's had 8 quarters, Phil. Do you want to address why he is not the next Jordan yet in 8 quarters?
I don't know. I usually believe those great players have time to be who they are. Thad, oh my God. Like, what are we doing? We're spelling for people who can't spell and understand football. We're going to define someone's career in 2 games. We're going to define where they're going. Is this guy ever going to come back around when a quarterback transitions to becoming something special? Will that guy come back and say, you know what? You were right, man.
Right.
You were absolutely right.
Zach,
No,
we get your point.
No.
We understand your point.
We got it all 74 times.
Right. That was our point. We're not disagreeing that if you're in a position where you can sit a guy, maybe it will benefit them. There's both sides to the fence on all of them. Not every quarterback that has hit either. But my point is, you're probably saying, well, it's worked in Green Bay, so it's going to work here. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I mean, somebody wanted to set Caleb for the first 2 games and let Tyson Bagent play it. I mean, what? So you have a blueprint, and it's 2 games.
well,
make it make
I
sense.
wanted Jim Harbaugh here. My biggest concern was
we all did, Phil. We all did.
Eberflus, right?
We all would have launched.
All of the TTNL said we got to get rid of Eberflus. What in 2 weeks has defined or showed its head the biggest? The coaching and the game planning. The offensive line falls under that umbrella. Me and Courtney didn't agree. I believe, and Shane believes, a benching of Nate Davis goes farther.
I don't bench him. I was launching him in
You
training.
wanted to cut him.
Yeah. We're punting his ass.
I'm
away.
just benching the dude.
We're
Like that.
tailoring his ass out to the fucking sun. That's
But and like I said, I wasn't. It just makes no sense to me because listen, and this isn't against Courtney. I'm focusing more on because listen, Ryan. Everybody has misses. Everybody has big whiffs. But listen, you saw that you were wrong with Chase Claypool.
Wanted me. Corn wanted me. He's the smartest in the chat.
You moved from Claypool. Now Nate Davis. Phil, we all know he is not going to be a Bear in 2025. Point blank.
Right.
End of story. And you're at this point where Ryan Poles has a ton of egg on his face because, like Courtney said, maybe he shouldn't have made that comment. But also, Ryan Poles drafted Doug Kramer. You saw something there at one point. to draft the kid. And 3 years later, he's on your roster, on your 53-man roster, but we can't play him because of Coleman Shelton, who's a journeyman.
I agree with you there. Both of those guys should be in.
And to me, Shane, that just says you don't believe in the guy. And if you don't believe in the guy,
then
why
he shouldn't be on the roster.
Thank you,
exactly.
Shane. Exactly. He shouldn't fucking be there.
This is my point, and you can look at, it's the reverse. It's politics over performance, because Velus,
100%.
Nate Davis, again, and I know that I talked about Roschon. I don't see anything special in Roschon Johnson. I just don't. You could say, oh, he's a good blocker. That doesn't make him special. It doesn't. But
Shane, let me list off the positives that happened in that loss real quick.
Yeah. Roof was open.
Roof was open.
Waldron didn't have a stroke on the sideline when he was shaking.
Punted really well. We punted.
Yeah.
Tell you what, that throw down the field was great until it was interfered with. This is a problem. Now, some coaches are meant to be coordinators. That's where they top off. Okay, that's where
that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that.
Exactly. So right now, I'm telling you, there's a head coaching issue. Because if you heard my rant to Courtney, you're understanding where I'm going with this. If your whole mission statement is hits, but yet you keep playing that guy that every peer in that locker room is watching him give shit energy on tape, effort, and it doesn't coexist with the expectation, you're losing the locker room.
Mm-hmm.
And you're doing that with a rookie. Any fucking coach, comment if they disagree there. Any fucking coach, please, because you will probably coaching soccer if you disagree with that, because it's not even in the ballpark of football truth. Like, the expectation should be across the board the same, and we're seeing not once, not twice, we're seeing it happen over and over. It was all through the offseason. People in the chat calling him Peloton Davis or whatever. This guy doesn't fucking care. There's immense talent there. I've seen it. I liked Nate Davis on tape, but what he's putting effort-wise to your football team with a rookie quarterback is unacceptable.
It is. And where he came from, Phil, there was an obvious need on the offensive line, and they let him walk. The former head coach there hated him. He hit the free agent market, and the Bears paid him. And what did Tennessee do in the draft the past 2 years?
They drafted
an interior, Skoronski, and then J.C. Latham. They let a 26-year-old interior.
Someone doesn't love the game.
Yeah,
they're not going to give it to you.
Yeah, it's toxic. It's toxic, and he doesn't.
If he's out there,
yeah,
you're doing wrong by the team. You have
100%, man.
It's not even an argument. It's I'm telling you, that's the problem. That's the head coach's fault.
Well, it's also the GM's fault, Phil. Like, you went ahead and signed
Ryan
him.
Poles.
Yeah, you're right.
Ryan Poles Ryan Poles 100% has egg on his face, and I'm a Ryan Poles guy. I am.
Yeah,
I like
to your point, Ivan. He could take him off the chessboard. To your point, he could make this a non-coaching issue and say you're cut.
Well, it was like when Courtney brought up Travis Homer and Luce being miffed after the game about it. You're the fucking head coach.
Right.
If I'm wearing the headset, I'm like, no, dude. I'll give him the one down, and guess what? Shane, no more.
Shane,
that's why you're there.
I'm not going to say names. But there's a kid in the game.
Yeah.
And Coach Phil is like, why is this kid in the game? Who put him in the game? Get him out. like in the middle of the game.
Yeah.
And sending someone else.
TTNL this Saturday after the show's over. I'm gonna go live and I'm gonna say, TTNL patrons, yeah, it was probably a bad move that we had Angelo breaking down the tape for you guys. we might have aired there. We might have aired there. It was between him and Greg Braggs. So we really dropped the fucking ball. But it won't happen next week.
Angelo, do you remember Greg Braggs?
No.
Oh, should have had glasses in that clip.
White hair, he got benched.
Good call, Logan.
Yeah. So I guarantee Logan's watched exactly 0 snaps of either of them and looked at a PFF grade. That's what we're dealing with. And like Phil, you did
praise laughter in the back.
I don't know who that is. Cherie, is your flatbread not good? That's on Cherie's end.
It's gotta be Cherie.
Can just put him on the camera. Let us talk to him.
No. That's why I went to the headphones.
Should be fire. So slick and skinny in a hole.
Yeah. What's he is he laughing at us or is he laughing at something on TV?
No, he's watching TV.
Oh,
what is he watching?
I think Martin or
Martin.
Funny.
Martin.
Miss Pat.
Oh.
Pat from Saturday Night Live?
No, it's a BET.
I know.
Oh.
Yes, I know. I know it's not Pat from SNL.
Oh my God. It's Pat.
Cherie, do you want us to let you go? I just saw you want to get out of here and go watch.
Yes, that's I'll put everything in the chat, but in our private chat. But
we need a picture of that flatbread though, or is it gone already?
No, apparently no.
Didn't come out good.
No,
that's probably what he's laughing at.
I think he's being nice, not wanting to hurt my feelings.
I just heard him say, "Baby, you can't make flatbread, but get on over here." Oh yeah. Can you get me that Manscaped coupon code, Cherie?
Oh my gosh.
Flatbread.
Oh yeah.
Well, Cherie,
we love you.
Love you guys.
Thanks for another fun night. We're gonna be signing off.
Smiley. See how smiley she gets when she's leaving? She's so happy to leave.
I love balls.
We know you love balls. You never know, yo. Just don't put.
I got it up.
Jesus. God.
Good night, guys. Good night, TTNL family.
Cherie, we love you.
Bye,
I love Cherie's mom. Yes. Love Cherie's mom. Love Cherie.
Yes, we do.
She's the best.
You notice she's so excited about everything that she makes, and then when we ask her about how it was, she's like, "Yeah, it wasn't good. I had to order. Out."
I saw him today.
Oh
Jackal. Yeah,
that was Mr. Jackal.
When are you coming back on? He's like, dude, I'm so busy.
Then let me do what I hired to do.
That sounds like an excuse, Mr. Jackal. Not gonna lie.
I thought Angelo was coming on for Ivan. Story time with Angelo.
Story time with Angelo and Ivan Vargas.
That would be great.
Narrated by Alan Bratcher. That's a fucking show right there. Jeez, we should have had Bratcher on. His woman's a Colts fan.
Colts week, and we don't have Bratcher and his girl on.
Yeah,
it's fucked up, Ivan. You should
have got to be going to the game, right? They got to be.
Yes,
I would imagine. I mean, I know me and him are going to the Panthers game.
Yeah,
you guys are going together.
Yeah.
Hey,
me and Bratcher tearing up Chicago. There'd be no crystal meth.
They're traveling on Angelo's little fun bus there, the little mini bike.
We got a bigger strip.
Could you just see? First of all, could you just see me like driving Alan in the sidecar and me just driving a motorcycle?
Like fucking what's his name from Harry Potter?
Oh God!
Like Dumb and Dumber.
Let's do our bold predictions, and then we got to get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, let's go. I'm tired of shit. I'm so tired, man. Listen,
Ivan Vargas. What is your?
Forgot to upload bold predictions again, Ivan.
Fine. It's fine.
Damn it all.
I got Phil. Can you hear me? This is your dad speaking. Can you hear me?
It never gets old.
No, it doesn't. Ivan Vargas, what is your score prediction and bold prediction?
Okay, so I got the Bears 33-17. Bold prediction: the defense gets another pick 6, and yeah, the Bears win.
He's going with the Bears.
33-17.
How the fuck are we getting 33, Ivan? Have you watched any football? We're terrible on offense.
Yeah, well, just one of these days, man.
What are we? Are we playing 8? Are we playing what? 16 quarters against the Colts?
I don't trust the Colts defense, and I don't trust Anthony Richardson. That's why I think there's going to be turnovers involved in this game. It's going to set up the offense in shorter fields that'll help Caleb Williams and this offense get going. That's why I chose 33-17, because I don't think this Colts offense is going to be able to take on this Bears defense.
There you go. Stephen W. $1.99. Let's fucking go. Motherfucking facts, y'all. 100 Bear down. Shane, we got more of these. Chris R. $4.99. I watched the tape too. Holy cow. Phil better bring the Tylenol. It's a rough watch. Tomorrow around 1:00 East.
And that's the thing. We've all watched it and multiple times at this point. And did you see Chase Daniel? What he tweeted? Oh, I know you didn't, Phil, but Ivan, did you see Chase Daniel's tweet that he sent out?
I did see Chase. Yeah, I did.
And I mean,
oh wait, was it the Bears tape or was no? I'm sorry. It was. I saw him tweet about Justin Fields. I'm sorry.
He said that there was nobody open at all for Caleb Williams, and I do not agree with that.
That's not
I just
true.
don't, because I saw
true.
I saw guys open.
He was under constant pressure, and some of the people that, and look, I want to save it for Phil for tomorrow. He's under constant pressure. Some of these balls that are sailing is because he has somebody in his fucking chest.
Yeah, and he's speeding up his own process. Yeah,
exactly. So
that's
like, but to say that there was nobody open, that's not true. It's just not true.
No, I totally agree.
Chris Brown, super chat, $5. Thank you, Chris. Bears offensive issues are systematic. Same issues arise no matter the people involved. 100%. Scottish Bear, $2. Is Teven injured or benched for speaking his mind? He was banged up with a thigh.
Deep thigh bruise. Yeah.
Scottish Bear comes back. Caleb Williams, $2. It's gonna be fine. It's gonna be just fine. Sorry, Logan. Curtis Dimes, $5. Rome has had an even worse start than Caleb. He squandered every opportunity to make a play thus far. Just keep it at 100. When it rains, it pours. I feel like they're going to get it right. But yeah, Rome.
Got to come down with that jump ball.
Got to come down with that football.
I think if he doesn't have a bad knee, there's a legitimate shot that he adds a lot more yards to that last reception that he had the other night, man. There was a pathway for him to
see it.
To add a whole bunch more.
Scottish Bear, $2 or pounds. Courtney Cronin is the best. Simple as that.
Yep.
Bear down 100. And those are the super chats. The rest are just 54 messages saying the same thing over and over again.
Adam, if you are in the chat still, I just saw this. I don't know where you sent the picture. Is it something that you got, Phil? Maybe in your DMs?
No,
I don't have anything on my personal.
Better not be a dick pic.
Twitter account. Yeah, Jesus. But yeah. Anyway.
Could you imagine?
No.
Bear up, Courtney Cronin. Bear down, stupid OC.
Yeah.
Lawrence. Caleb gets his first TD off play action. That's his bold prediction.
Nice.
He's playing the game with Super Chat. I love it. I like it too. Oops, sorry.
Courtney Cronin.
Courtney Cronin.
Jesus, don't fire up the masses. Oh, so my
bear up, bear down, or predictions? We're predictions.
Yeah, I mean
we're skipping bear up, bear down.
Yeah,
this week.
we did our bear ups and bear downs essentially with Courtney talking about the offense and the offensive line. But yeah, my prediction is the Bears are getting a W. I predicted them to lose last week. I think everybody on the network predicted them to lose.
Yeah, we did.
I think the Chicago Bears win on Sunday, and I think the score is going to be 24-16. They win.
That's so weird.
That is your score also?
No.
Oh.
24-13 Bears.
My bold prediction is it's not bold. I mean, we obviously have to see a fucking heartbeat from that's not my bold prediction. We have to see a heartbeat from the running game. Hopefully DeAndre Swift can get on track, but I'm going to say 2 touchdown passes from Caleb Williams, one to Cole Kmet and the other one to DJ Moore.
2 touchdown passes.
Yes.
Look at you.
Sad that 2 touchdown passes has to be bold, but
from what we've seen so
brick
far,
by brick, baby. Yeah. That's a fucking offensive.
Greg Bragg's way.
Yeah.
Brick by brick, baby.
Yeah.
Knee by knee.
Look at
selfie by selfie.
TV17 actually had a good comment tonight. See, it's very witty. I like that one. Bold prediction. We run for over 50 yards. That's good.
I
like it.
I like knee by knee better.
That was my joke. Definitely wasn't Logan's, because Logan isn't fucking funny at all, Logan. You're the British Office, Logan.
Yeah.
The Titan. Not
Speaking
the
of the Office. Did you see the promo all over social media tonight? The Office Australia is coming to Amazon Prime.
Really?
Yeah, it looks.
Logan will love
terrible.
that better than The Office in America too. The Titan, not the Logan. I just think it's hard for any QB to be successful when you can't run or protect the quarterback, especially a young QB who's developing. This ain't
breaking news. The tape never lies.
That deserved a breaking news.
He just got it all right there. Like if you were taking one of those old bubble tests, that would be or E, all of the above. That would be that answer right there. It's perfectly written. The Titan. The Titan. My bold prediction is this, Shane. You heard 24-13 Bears. My bold prediction is Caleb Williams throws for 3 touchdown passes.
Nope.
And runs for 1.
Nope.
You just
can't do that.
You're just a homer, Phil.
I can't even do that because that would be over my prediction. So
yeah, Phil, not good at math.
He throws for 3 touchdown passes. There you go. And he comes out and he kicks a field goal, Ivan.
Oh, a drop kick or a field goal?
A drop kick. That would be hilarious.
Dan Weeder in the press box after that stat line.
Oh my fucking God.
Oh man.
3 touchdown passes. There you go.
Wow.
So
I think
he
the last
should have
time,
had 2. He should have 2 by now.
Yeah, he should have 2. He should.
Tate's pissed that those guys dropped the ball.
Bear down. Watch the earlier portion of the show where we talk about
We
that.
don't get it. We don't
Courtney
get it, Bear
Cronin.
down. In
Yeah,
H down.
Yeah.
He's just it's a big question mark for us. Bear down.
Especially in short yardage. Like, get him in there.
Critical drinker. He's all in.
He's going
You're drunk, bro.
35-0.
Logan's like, bench that motherfucker. 350 and 4 tutties? Fuck that.
Well, imagine what fucking Tyson would do.
Oh my God.
This is the week. Like, Caleb will throw for like 4 touchdowns, like he's predicting. And then it goes to the next level of stupidity. Well, it was only against the Colts.
Yeah, they're not good.
Okay, you can't have it both ways.
I was inside a controlled environment. You wait till that fucker gets outside in November and December. The fingernail polish is going to start chipping off his fingers. He's going to be fucked. There goes the security blanket.
On the 4th day of Waldron's office, he just gave to us 4
look at
Everett screens.
Look at your phone. Look at your phone right now from Larison. That's fucking awesome.
There he is.
Yeah, you see it?
He looks like him.
Oh my God, it's fucking unbelievable.
Oh my God, Driver Larison. He should try to get in and go to Alice Hall and be like,
yeah,
Reed trying to get in.
Where the fuck's Larry Mayer at?
I'm doing an interview with Larry in a few. I gotta get in there. Who are you? Fucking Austin Reed, practice squad quarterback. Jim's son looks like him.
It's the real critical drinker. Yes, Logan. He is
really him.
Massive TTNL fan, and he thinks that Caleb Williams should not be benched for the season.
Yes.
He even says that when he's not drinking.
Yep.
Larison says he's actually had people asking him for autograph.
Nice.
He's a doppelganger for Austin Reed, his son.
That's awesome.
Driver. Let's go, Driver. Do you know Jim, all his pets are named after golf?
I did.
Got Ace.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, Jim.
Get the fuck over here, Mulligan.
His sons are his sons. That's his next dog.
Yeah.
Mulligan. They're making a new what's it called? Happy Gilmore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We should start to do anything to get Jim Larison in that movie.
Yeah. We're getting Angelo in the Goonies Part 2. He's gonna
Sloth's cousin.
He's gonna be the new Sloth.
Oh fuck! Oh man!
Good.
Good. Yeah.
Good.
We got a bigger strip.
He comes in on the moped, saves the Goonies. Goonies never die. Goonies never die.
He's riding off in the sunset.
Oh my God. Angelo has to be on next week's show, man. Did he call you today? He didn't call me.
He did not. No, I was so fucking busy today.
Me too. Holy shit.
I think
you called me, I think. I didn't even get to
I didn't today. I don't call you anymore. You never return any fucking phone calls.
Dude, this last 3 weeks has been hell. I can't even pick up the phone. It's like a nightmare. They have this fucking, they're pushing an app, right? You tell me.
Yeah.
Pushing an app. They're saying we're the test pilot. And I write them like break it down pretty well, like I would tape all the issues with this app. They're just skipping over these issues like they don't matter, and they're just gonna push it out. Like, what the fuck's the point? Why are you even trying? I fucking hate that. It's just all ridiculous. Anyway, that's my job. Fucking stress, deep thigh Bruce. At my job.
Deep thigh Bruce.
I'm out. Sitting out. Oh man. There he is. Baby Ruth. Oh, we're gonna get banged for that one.
It's too short.
It's too short. We made it. Yeah. I love the Goonies. I've been praying for years that there was a part 2.
Well, there's
back then. There's another one coming out, right?
Well, the rumor, some people are saying it's not true, but I guess
they've been doing this to us for years.
They're trying to, yeah. Well, supposedly the original cast is on board.
Kids or something.
Mikey hid treasure that he never told anybody about, and they're gonna take their kids and they're gonna go back and try to go get it. But there's some places that are debunking that, and Logan said that kids shouldn't be on treasure hunts; they should stay home. So,
just bench those kids. Oh my god! All right, we made the mark, guys.
We did.
2 hours and 26 minutes has been our goal. 11 o'clock goals.
Yep. We're getting out of here tomorrow night.
Nerd alert.
9 p.m. because I have to attend my son's away soccer game. So
you're just a bad father, man.
We're not gonna. Well, hopefully, if I get back. So it's scheduled for 9, but if I get back before that, guess what? It's not going to be starting at 9. It's going to start when I get back.
Right when he gets back.
Nerd alert.
That's 8:15.
Look for the sign. Just look for the glasses in the sky.
We're fucking rolling.
Batman is like shot up into these 2 glasses.
Mo's new here. Everything we do is Eastern.
Central.
Eastern.
Mo, it's East. Don't listen to Ivan.
These guys just won't listen to me.
Announce that text from Mr. Larison, Phil.
Next week, Jim Larison, breaking news bullets. We should do the drawing for the New England tickets for the fundraiser thing. All of you that donated to the Larison fundraiser, I believe we still have can we still raise money here on the US on this?
No, I think it's closed down.
Oh, it's closed. My bad.
Yep.
Well, we raised a lot of money, Jim. I hope. Looks like the numbers were good when I donated.
You know how I feel about stats.
Next week, Wednesday, we'll have Angelo on and we will reveal the winners of tickets to the New England Patriots.
We're going to have all the winners' names written on his belly.
All the winners' names on his overalls.
Yep.
On his overalls.
No, that's not happening ever again. I got reprimanded for that last time, Ivan, by Stephanie Atoshin. Was not very happy with me. If you wear suspenders underneath your t-shirt, we are going to expose that and show America.
Then let me do what I hired to do.
Right. Every time, Angelo. Every time.
Next week, Angelo, the tickets will be revealed. Those of you donated, what are we talking about? If you donated to the Larison's fundraiser for ALS, you will be entered into the drawing to win. Next Wednesday, we'll start revealing some of the winners. So Jim texted us live right here at the end of the show. So That's it. Also, tomorrow, if you're a patron around 1 East, Ivan, 1 East.
That's noon.
I'm not a mutter. I'm not a mutter. That's 12 Central. I'll be breaking down the tape live on Patreon, showing you the Bears' offensive woes. Why some of the things aren't on Caleb. And we'll be talking and breaking it down. 1 o'clock East, 12 Central. Sign up, become a patron at thetapeneverlies.com. And that's it, folks. That's all.
Just so you know, if you are a patron, we do criticize coaching and players. You know, one poor fucker crashed his Lambo when he heard that we fucking hold players accountable. He even painted the fucking calipers on it.
Oh, yeah.
54 mentions.
Yeah.
54. Saying the same thing. Line of the night. No cussing. It'll just be George McCaskey like tomorrow at 1 East. Yeah, right. There'll be a few. Shane already got me fired up with a Nate Davis. I want to thank Courtney Cronin. Shout out to all you positive patrons and all you positive people and Bears fans out there. I don't get the divisiveness. I'm with Courtney. Let's bring it together. Dial it back in. Stop thinking you're the smartest person in the world. You're not, Shane. If so, start your own show and put your name on it and put it on audio and video so Shane could clip it with Ivan and make fun of you when you're wrong. So hold you accountable like we do everybody. And that's it. That's where we'll be. Live on BHL right after Bears versus Colts. Will Bratcher be in the building? Maybe we'll get him on.
I'll text him. I'll see what he has to say.
All
but
right.
Phil,
let's wrap it up.
With that being said, we are going to take you out with the sultry tones of one Jonathan Hood.
There you go.
See everybody later.
I want to say something before we get underway about the tape never lies. Okay, so I know that there's a billion podcasts and a lot of people talking about NFL and talking about the Bears. But let me just say that you really, if you are a viewer of Tape Never Lies, don't go anywhere else. Come right here. And the reason why is because Dr. Phil and the smartest man to ever live is going to tell you like it is. And so sometimes you'll go over here and I'll go over here and you'll hear this rhetoric over here, over there. Whittle it down. What I would say is ESPN Chicago, because I'll put myself over and I'll put ESPN 1000 over. But I think that we have to start whittling it down, man, because when you get these 10 or 15 sources, it muddles your mind on exactly what's truth and what's not. Yeah. The Tape Never Lies network is about the truth.
Hey! Good job.